do not remember that. But I mean, they've been complaining about the water infrastructure and saying, this is something we have to address. And therefore, that's why we have to raise your rates exponentially over the next number of years. And I'm sure, and I said this yesterday, I'm sure there's a very teeny tiny part of them that is, I don't know if I say happy, but they have a clear example now to say, look, see, this is why we told you so. We told you we needed more money to pay for water infrastructure, and this is why. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We've been trying for the last century. Not as much, although I have seen more and more videos where there was, in fact, I saw one a few weeks ago where there were a couple cars at a stoplight. I don't remember where, it wasn't in the St. Louis area. Anyway, and a sinkhole, it just swallowed the cars and they were able to get out. They had to climb their way out, but it was crazy. I mean, you're just sitting there minding your own business at a stoplight and then boom. So it does seem like these things are happening more and more. And yeah, I guess you're right. I could just be driving along and then all of a sudden I'm gone.
Ryan, what do you think about this T-shirt idea? Downtown St. Louis, a giant sinkhole.
Pretty much.
No, no, you don't like that one. So.
Oh man. Yeah, you can have a team takeover, but this is the area where you're allowed to have it. You know what? They'd still probably say yes.
Let's cover.
Are you having team takeovers where you are too in Detroit, or is it just yeah? The life experiences they're getting on a Saturday night at 11 p.m. are unmatched. They need to have that opportunity. Yeah. Isn't that stupid? They're they dropped the police were saying that in many cases the parents or the guardians, whether it be an aunt, an uncle, or a grandma, grandpa, whoever's watching the kid, in many cases from this last weekend's teen takeover downtown. They were dropping the kids off. What did the 13 or 14 or 15-year-old tell the guardian, the parent, as far as why they needed to go downtown with a bunch of friends or random people? I'd love to guess. We should do something wrong guesses only on what the kids told their parents as to why they needed to go downtown at 10 p.m. And it's only open 10 p.m. until midnight. Weird hours, I know, but I'd like to go check out a book. Yeah, guy is very, very, very far left.
It's on the Windows World webcam. Window World webcam. Simply the best for less. On 97.1 FM Talk.
All right.
Thank you. So people are saying they can't hear Ryan, and then it's on our text line. They're saying it sounds like we're broadcasting from the bathroom on YouTube.
On YouTube.
So everyone's saying YouTube sounds weird, and they can't hear Ryan.
Yeah, look at this.
I see we're up on YouTube, but I can't explain.
I'll just listen to it.
Because Ryan has to be muted. You're the only one who can't be muted.
Right.
I can jump out and get back in.
One sec. Is
down on westbound 70. It's all due to road work at this hour, but westbound 70 approaching David Hochul Parkway, lane closures causing delays there. Eastbound is completely fine. And don't forget downtown, 44 is closed in both directions between the Poplar Street Bridge and the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge. Eastbound 70 drivers, you can still cross the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge. And remember this, of course, all due to that huge sinkhole that showed up on North Broadway under 44, and it exposed the bridge footings on the bridge over Biddle. So they are closing that area out of precaution. And that will be in this state through the weekend. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Here's a World Soccer Championship preview.
Brought to you by Lowe's. Members get more at Lowe's. And by the first ever Infinity QX65. Argentina opens their championship defense in Kansas City against Algeria. Many experts look at Argentina to repeat, but they'll have to be on guard. Remember, they were upset by Saudi Arabia in their first match of 2022. Many of the same players from that 2022 Argentine side and the same coach are all back for another run at the title. I'm Mike Conti.
When I had to have a roof put on my house, there was only one person I was going to allow to do that. And that, of course, was my friend Curtis Carell at Carell Roofing Company. They do great work. Plus, they're honest. And I don't know the first thing about roofing. I've never helped put a roof on. I've never been up on the roof when they're installing one. So you have to have complete confidence in whoever's up there is going to do the right thing for you. Curtis is the guy. He is a family man. He is a veteran. I know him personally. He works well with these insurance adjusters. In fact, he kind of prides himself on that. And he tells me all the time, you know, hey, I had another success with somebody who got turned down the first time they tried to file a claim, and I was able to get up with the adjuster and show them, prove to them the damage I found, and they reversed their decision. If that's you, call Curtis. He's there for you, and he'll get it taken care of. It doesn't matter what kind of roof, what kind of material, you can trust him. 314-222-9529. Online at CorellRoofingCo.com.
Today, the Cards, the Padres.
St. Ben Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. St. Ben Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules.
The time is 5:20 on this Tuesday morning. This time check is sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Marc Cox is St. Louis conservative.
And welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Mark. Oh, Kim, it's been forever since we've worked together, because I think the last time I filled in on this show, you were still on maternity leave.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now I have almost a 10-month-old.
Wow, 10 months.
Yeah, he'll be 10 months
that?
Friday.
How's that been going?
It's good. It's good. Yeah, that's really sweet to see the boys together. They're about 2.5 years apart. And, you always have that fear of, oh, gosh, how is this going to be bringing the new baby in? And Easton, the older one, who's 3, loves being a big brother. And, Hudson, the younger one, is just starting to crawl now. So he's starting to take some of Easton's toys. That's not going over as well, but that's to be expected.
Lots of onesies still. Kids in a onesie. There's something cute about that.
Yeah.
So in lots of clothes. And Do you have a mom group that you swap clothes with, or are you buying everything fresh?
No, thank goodness my younger sister just had her fourth. My other sister has 4 kids, and they have boys and girls. So we have clothes up the
Whew.
wazoo, toys up the wazoo. I've barely bought anything. Seriously.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's great.
That's the way it should be. And I don't know how parents could do it and having to buy everything fresh every time. You got to have the mom groups. You got to have people that you can get clothes from because, oh boy, does that
It's
add up
expensive.
quick.
Oh yeah.
Ugh. Even at garage sales, if you go to a garage sale and they got kids' clothes, my wife complains about this all the time. She's like, people wanting $5 for articles of clothes at a garage sale are insane. She's like, I'm a 50-cent type of guy.
Yeah.
Or lady, excuse me. If it ain't 50 cents, I'm not buying it. Baby
Yeah.
clothes, stuff like that. So have you looked into this Iran deal? Are you worried about this $300 billion fund and what that could mean? Because a lot of people are looking at it and they're saying, all right, that means the United States lost on the deal. Are you concerned so far?
You know, I'm going to remain optimistic. I do trust that Trump and Vance would put in, particularly Trump would make a good deal. As far as the $300 billion, that reconstruction fund is how I've been hearing it, described. Yeah, I mean, how can you not be? I'm sure I'll get hate for that, but how can you not look at that and at least have some concern of what does this mean? And they're saying that in order to have access to that, they'd have to hold up their end of the bargain and all these things. But that's exactly what happened with Obama. And I'm not saying it's the exact same because let's be real, Trump would probably bomb the crap out of Iran if they didn't hold up their end of the bargain. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to see the parameters of this deal.
Yeah. I'll tell you my biggest concern with all of this. Based on history, we know that Iran will not follow through or actually do what they say they're going to do. At a moment like this, we know that they are absolutely going to lie to the Obama administration, which they did. They'll lie to Joe Biden. They'll lie to everyone. And Donald Trump goes in and says, we're done with this. We don't want to have to deal with this for the next generation in the next generation. We want to settle this now, even though it might bring us a couple of months of high gas prices. Yes. But if we settle this Iran thing now, then if we don't have to worry about it in the future, it'll be worth it. We'll look back at this and say, this is one pest we don't have to keep going back to get rid of. So if a deal is made here with the stipulation that they only get the benefits if they're good stewards of it, I think that's close to less than 5% chance they'll be good stewards. And we're going to be in the same mess again. And this was all for naught. That's what I'm worried about. 300 billion or not, like even if they don't get a dime of that because they didn't follow through on their promises, I don't want to have to deal with Iran forever and ever and ever, because the next time we have to deal with them, we're going to go through this whole deal and maybe even worse than what we're going through right now, because they're like, okay, we know what happens if we close this straight off. We know what the end game is, even with a hard guy like Donald Trump on the other end. If you get someone in there that's not as hard as him in the future, a Democrat perhaps, then they're just going to pull the same stunt again with whatever they've collected up to that point, and we're going to be in the same spot. That's what bothers me most about this. Not so much $300 billion. It's that even if they don't get a dime, and if we're in the same spot again 10 years from now, we're going to look at this and say, this was stupid. Well, all of this for nothing.
Just to hit on something Debbie said on Facebook, she says Trump says that was BS and not true. I keep hearing that, but you know what? I heard JD Vance doing an interview with CBS yesterday, and they said true or false. Would Iran have access? And he essentially said, yes, that again, as long as they honor their end of the obligation, that they would have access to that reconstruction fund. So unless Trump and JD Vance are at odds over what's happening, which I highly doubt, then that is true. That's what JD Vance was saying yesterday.
Yeah. And part of it was I think what he was talking about was a coalition, meaning it wasn't the United States.
No, it's not. We're not funding
it.
it. Right. It's not like coming from our money. You're right. It's some coalition funding.
So maybe that's where the disconnect is when Donald Trump says, they make the impression that the United States is handing over more pallets of cash, kind of like the Obama administration did, which he definitely doesn't want to do that. So I think that's where the disconnect maybe is. I don't know exactly where the 300 billion is coming from, or if it's going to be, okay, let's say they're paying people to go in and out of the strait. There's some sort of big tax to put your oil through the Strait of Hormuz, then they're able to keep that money or something without it something happening to it. Is that where the $300 billion is? They're able to collect and keep the money as opposed to it being contested. I don't know. I wonder if it's stuff like that. There might be some manipulation in the way it looks at, but we won't really know until the deal comes out. And it's been less than 24 hours since an official deal. They said on Friday, it looks like we have it. Then over the weekend, we're finalizing it. Okay, it looks like we finally have it now. It looks like we're going to sign it virtually on Monday. I mean, less than 24 hours, and you want to be able to go through it. It might not be official right now. And part of it could be that the people they're dealing with also have other people that claim, hey, you should be dealing with us, not them, or them, and vice versa. So now you have to figure out, okay, what happens if there's a dispute? Maybe the ones they made a deal with are the ones that are going to have to figure it out in Iran before they work this out. There's just a lot of question marks. So I'm not too stressed that we haven't seen the deal yet. I think we will soon, but okay. Everything works so fast in the world today. You make it sound like there's something nefarious going on because you haven't seen it yet. Okay,
well, and Senator John Kennedy, and I love Senator Kennedy, but he was saying he felt Congress should vote on it. Well, let's just talk about how fast Congress tends to move. We don't have time for the Congress to sit here and vote on it. They need to sign this and get this, in writing. So, and by the way, I just checked X, and what's infuriating is you go here and the first post is J.D. Vance just debunked the massive fake news report that America's paying Iran. Again, Ryan, you and I are saying it's not like America's paying Iran. We never said that. It's some coalition funding. It's not taxpayer money. And then literally the next post is J.D. Vance confirms Iran will get $300 billion. So you're going to see a lot of that as you're opening up social media today.
Yeah, there's just a lot to try to navigate through. All right, let's do Kim on a Whim coming up after the break. It's the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker. If you want to find me online at Ryan Recker Radio, things like that, go watch our video feeds. They're up live now. And I have a Bigfoot shirt on under this hoodie that may come out at some point during the show. So I hope you can watch on 97.1 FM Talk.
Selling your home? Every situation is unique. Find the best options that are right for you from the real estate team who offer more options. My friends Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. Check out the only agents I trust. Go to thegelmanteam.com. That's thegelmanteam.com.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot. Backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm Maria Bartiromo, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The new Federal Reserve Chair Kevin Warsh leads the Fed meeting today and tomorrow. Market watcher Lou Bassanese isn't expecting any surprises, but he is watching the dot plot interest rate forecast from Fed policymakers.
For me, the dot plot is the most interesting thing that we get this week from the Fed, because remember, in March, we saw that they were expecting some easing this year. So do they still expect to ease? I don't think so. I think they're just going to take a very hold and pause stance right now. You're going to see that from all the Fed presidents. And I think that's the key key data point to be focusing on.
We'll find out today how many new homes were started in May. The Census Bureau reports housing starts and the number of building permits for new construction. The forecast is for a slight decline in housing starts from April. Reporting earnings today, furniture giant Lazy Boy. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jim Coselda, invested in you.
When I started skiing, I didn't think about setting any records. When I won my first race, I didn't think about how many more I might win. So when I made it to the top of the world, it never crossed my mind to stop. Being the best isn't the same as being your best. There are no shortcuts to the top, so find the people who help get you there. I'm Michaela Schifrin, and that's what Team Stiefel means to me. If you're an advisor or an investor, choose Stiefel, where success meets success.
Stiefel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. We look good on the roads at this hour. It's pretty quiet out there and a beautiful start to the day. So really no delays. Now, eastbound 70 looks good from Forestdale into downtown. 64 is in good shape. 55 looks good. 44, of course, is still closed between the bridges downtown, and that's the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge and the Poplar Street Bridge, and will be closed through the weekend. And we still have road work going on the Illinois side, 55, 64 at 3rd Street. But at this hour, no delays. This report brought to you by Missouri Brush Control. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property, manage vegetation, and clear land for better views. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Visit MissouriBrushControl.com.
Well, let's face it, there's nothing sexy about having to replace your windows. Let's put it that way. But as a homeowner, it's one of those things you have to do at some point, generally speaking, while you are the owner of a home. You're going to have a window where the seals break. Maybe you've got windows where you just want to kind of change the look of your home. You can do all of that, and you can go to WindowWorldStLouis.com and choose from their selection of windows. I think it's the place to go. I have used them myself. Seamless. Loved the whole transaction from the minute the guy showed up to talk me through it, to the measurement, to the installation. It just seemed to take no time. And I got great windows at a great price. Don't buy into all the hype from some of these other window companies out there. Trust Window World of St. Louis. 1-800-GET-WINDOWS. That's 1-800-GET-WINDOWS. They'll get you a free estimate today. Preferred window of the St. Louis Blues. It's WindowWorldStLouis.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stiefel, and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stiefel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stiefel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
License number GL2500615.
You're cooking dinner. The lights go out. You flip the breaker and forget about it.
But what if it keeps tripping?
Trips once, your breaker's doing its job. Keeps tripping? That's a warning. Bad wiring or something worse.
Do people just keep flipping it?
Most do, until they can't anymore.
Call Grasser. We'll stop the trip.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeServices.com.
Freedom has a frequency. 97.1 FM Talk.
97.1 FM Talk.
St. Louis Conservative. Kim on a whim.
Think about all the good TV shows we used to watch that were made 15, 20, 25 years ago that would never fly now in today's political climate. It just wouldn't. And Rainn Wilson, who played Dwight in The Office, I should preface before I say this, I should preface this with saying Dwight Rainn Wilson, the actor, is very liberal. Everything I've seen from him shows me that he's very liberal, does not like Trump. So remember that as I play this audio for you, because he is making some headlines for what he said. And essentially he agrees with what I'm saying. Listen.
I do feel like you couldn't make The Office today. I think that would be too hard to be as politically incorrect as the show was. I think there has been a bias in the media towards more what we call liberal policies. They're willing to overlook the Plattner Nazi tattoo, but if it was someone from the other side that had a tattoo that was questionable, they would be all over MSNBC about it. So it's the hypocrisy that gets me the most. It's the hypocrisy of like both sides need to have kind of equal standards of behavior.
I agree. And maybe there is a little bit of hypocrisy from both sides, because there certainly is from the left. And he makes a really good point that Graham Plattner's Nazi tattoo, totally fine, nothing to see here. But they already called Trump a Nazi, and they have for years. But then imagine if he had a Nazi tattoo. Can you even wrap your brain around the backlash from the left? Right? We want to overlook something that's controversial with our side. And conservatives, we're not completely innocent in this. I mean, I think about things like the whole Eric Swalwell debacle with his sex scandal, and that was not good at all. And he rightfully resigned from Congress, as he should have. But let's be real, there's been some checkered past from some of the conservative lawmakers, and we tend to overlook a lot of that. You know, I mean, that's part of the problem. Did you used to watch The Office, Ryan?
Of course, yeah. I
So
was
funny.
a day one viewer of The Office.
I have a funny clip from The Office, because if you were to try to make this today, people would be mad. Listen.
The most fundamental thing about sensitivity training is that you cannot make fun of a person for something or some action that they have done that they regret. You can only make fun of things that they have control over. Like Oscar is gay. That is his choice. We can make fun of that. I did not choose to fall into a koi pond.
Maya, you still can't make fun of people for race or gender or sexual orientation or religion.
Who let the lemon head into the room? You are a waste of life, and you should give up. Is what I want to say, but I won't, because that is why we are doing this right now. So Toby, welcome to sensitivity training for real.
Can you imagine that playing out now? They wouldn't ever say the whole gay thing. What do you think they would?
I think that if The Office came out now, you would say this is a conservative comedy. Like, it would be a conservative thing, and the left would kind of think it's funny, but they wouldn't enjoy it like they did back then.
It wouldn't be as
it would
popular. For sure. It wouldn't be as, maybe I should say, it wouldn't be as mainstream. And that's really sad, because shows like The Office were so funny. And one of the reasons The Office was so funny is because they hit on things that were obvious or like awkward for people, but people kind of knew it was true. And it was, to me, that's what made it such a great show. And when you can't do that because people are so offended these days, their feelings are hurt because, oh, you didn't do this or you said that. Can we even make great TV anymore?
I kind of disagree in the sense that I think The Office would be made. I think the question would be if it was on a streaming service or over the air, because I think there are some streaming services that do comedies like this. Maybe, and as much as Netflix gets made fun of, which they rightfully should, because they kind of force down your throat certain you're like, okay, you forgot these type of characters, and you're like, okay, there's 8 different woke type of characters that they have to almost force into their shows.
Right.
And you're like,
It's
okay.
like checking a box.
But, then every once in a while, there's things like Tires, which is the Shane Gillis show that is very not politically correct. And things like that get made. So
Which streaming service is that on?
I thought that was Netflix. I could be wrong, though.
Well,
But
I think I'd
Shane
agree with you that it could be made, but it's not going to be as mainstream. It won't be as popular, that it would be more like a niche thing where it'd be on like 1 or 2 maybe streaming services.
Right. And a lot of times, like if there's a good show that comes out, that's a really good comedy. And it's been a while since I've seen a good comedy on TV. The best one I've seen is the rise and fall of Reggie Dinkins on NBC. And, back in the day, NBC had The Office, Parks and Rec, and I'm trying to think of some of the other.
Was it Friends? Was Friends on NBC? I think Friends was on NBC.
Yeah, that kind of ended when these other ones came out. They had Community, and there were some of these big shows, 30 Rock. There's these really big shows that were out, and they were really good and really funny. And then there was like a big emptiness where all the good shows were like on AMC, like the Breaking Bads and stuff.
I love that show.
And then all of a sudden, Reggie Dinkins came out of nowhere that I thought this last year, and I thought this is fantastic. But even with shows like that, they like tiptoe around the controversy. So the clip you played from The Office where they kind of like just go out and say it, and they're like, you have those moments where you like cringe a little bit, but it's very well written and funny. Reggie Dinkins does that, except then they apologize for it. Like a character has to be like, we understand that it's wrong now.
But
you don't
like
have
a
to do
butt
that.
monkey, and that just ruins it.
Yeah.
It's not as funny when you have to, when you're tiptoeing around it. The humor comes from the fact that they just bluntly say it. And they just kind of let
you
it
don't have
sit.
to do that. If they can make a comedy and not do that, listen, that's all you need to do. That's all you need.
I was surprised that Rainn Wilson even made the comment, though, about Graham Plattner. Because like I said, he's very liberal. So maybe there are some liberals who see the hypocrisy. But I mean, that I've hit on that in general, where you have to call out both sides. Because if you can only call out one side, what does that say about you? Come on.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with ourselves that both sides have made mistakes and do dumb things. And there are things to call out with the conservatives and with the liberals. Now, I have a lot more issues with liberals because I would absolutely call myself a conservative, very conservative on some issues. But I mean, there's just dumb things that have been done on both sides.
Yeah. What's the equivalent of the Plattner Nazi tattoo on the Republican side, that where a candidate made it that far, at least to be the nominee, and still have something like that? I'm trying to think of the equivalent, because Nazi tattoo is pretty bad.
I can't think. I mean, again, conservatives have done dumb stuff. Like I can think of sex scandals, but I can't think of a Nazi tattoo, the equivalent of that. Somebody who was then, picked as the nominee for Congress. That's what's insane about it. And he doesn't have any. Yeah, I don't know. And the left plays identity politics so much, and I know that's a white guy, but they play identity politics so much that they're willing to overlook a lot in order to check that box.
Yeah. And it's so interesting, the dance they make. They're like, no, we don't hate Jews. We love Jews. Everything's great. Welcome our candidate, the guy with the Nazi tattoo.
Yeah, or they don't, like Kamala Harris. There was rumor that she didn't pick Josh Shapiro as her running mate because of his Jewish background, and that would be a little too Jewish. And I really, really hope Kamala runs for president, and I really hope Josh Shapiro runs, because that would be more than likely to come out at some point.
We've come a long way. I remember when John Fetterman was running and he dressed like a slob. And we're like,
wait, he still dresses like a slob.
Still dresses like it. But then you're like, that's what his big thing was. We're like, okay, he can barely talk because he had a stroke, and he dresses like a slob. And like, this is the best the left can put up. And then we're looking at it and we're like,
kind of like him.
we might have been wrong on Fetterman. Yeah. He still votes very liberal in a lot of ways, but at least on the common sense things, he doesn't worry about crossing the aisle. And we'll take that. We'll take it where we can get it. Go ahead, dress in your hoodie. It's like, as long as you vote on the common sense things, that you're like, who in their right mind would vote against this? Well, super liberal ones would, but at least the John Fettermans of the world won't.
Well, that's why you can't respect an Ilhan Omar or an AOC or whatever. Yeah. I mean, you name them, the whole squad. Cori Bush, when she was in Congress, who, by the way, is running again, as I'm sure you know, which is a joke. But anyway, they're going to vote the same every single time. It doesn't matter. They just hate Trump. They hate conservatives, and anything that fits sort of into that narrative, they're going to vote against it. So, yeah, I don't fully agree with John Fetterman, but I at least respect the fact that he's willing to vote the other, on the other side when there's something that's very obviously common sense.
The Nazi tattoo stuff, I still can't
totally
get over
fine.
That.
Nothing to see here.
In his primary, he got like close to 80% of the vote of Democrats. It's like, how is this happening? I mean, almost unanimous. They wanted him as their candidate. The Nazi tattoo guy in Maine. I just can't get over that. What a world today. I mean, everything keeps changing. What do you think it's going to look like 10 years from now?
Oh, gosh. Well, AI, it'll just be a bunch of holograms. That's who's going to be representing us.
How many Nazi tattoos on those holograms?
If they have a Nazi tattoo and they're liberal, it won't matter. And they could just, if they're AI, then they can just adapt that person to however they want. They'd probably have somebody who's goes by they, them, and all the minority things to make sure they can check all the boxes. That, what do they call it? Intersectionality. However many minority groups you can be a part of, the more qualified you are. It'd be funny to think of who the ideal, if the Democrats could paint their ideal candidate, what would that look like?
Just a couple of years ago, it was bad enough when the left was chanting from the rivers to the sea or whatever. What was the chant? And, free Palestine and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just implied that they were fine with, Jews getting genocide. But today, it's not enough anymore to just do the chants. You have to have the Nazi tattoo. So Democrats, take note from how popular Plattner is. Go consider
getting your own
what this could do for your career.
Go get your own Nazi tattoo. In fact, this week we're doing BOGO. Bring a friend. You can get matching Nazi tattoos. Show your true commitment to the liberal ideology.
Yeah, bring your Southern Poverty Law Center card.
For a 15% off.
15% off. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Are off to a really nice start this morning. The weather is fantastic. Traffic looks great. We are quiet through North County. If you are a westbound 270 driver, things look fine through there. And eastbound 70 and 6440 look good from out west. We still have a 44 closed downtown between the Poplar Street Bridge and the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge. And that's in both directions and will be in place at least to the weekend. On the Illinois side, there is some road work going on, and that's 5564 near 3rd Street, and that is causing a delay at this hour in both directions. It's all due to lane closures. But other than that, we are fine. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, St. Louis, this is Brian Kilmeade. I always have a great time when I visit you guys, and I'm coming back this November. So join me, Brian Kilmeade, by getting tickets for the show at the factory at 971talk.com/events.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Well, with summer upon us, the kids home full time, your garage door is going to see a lot more use than normal. Do it a favor. With some annual maintenance from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, they will make sure it is in proper functioning condition. They'll check that spring. They're going to check the chain that operates your garage door from the motor. All that's got to be in good working order, but there's so much more to it. A 26-point tune-up, one low price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Get it scheduled today, and they will get it taken care of. You can trust them, because they're the original Overhead Door Company, the one with the red ribbon. They've been around for 100 years, 1926. Think about that. And because of that, there's nothing you're going to throw at them that they haven't seen. So always look for the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. Just go online today to schedule at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
One of the biggest gifts you can give your family is peace of mind. That's why I trust and recommend Civia Law. They've helped so many families, including mine, right here in our community with estate planning, wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and elder law issues. I've seen how stressful it can be when a loved one passes without a plan. Families are left confused, sometimes tied up in probate court, and it can cost so much in time and money. But with Civia Law, you don't have to worry about that. They'll walk you through everything and even deliver your completed documents in just 2 weeks from your first appointment. And here's something special just for you. Mention the Annie Fry Show, and the first 10 listeners right now will get a free strategy session. That's a $300 value. 833-995-WILL. Just be sure to mention the Annie Fry Show when you call. Civia Law has 7 convenient locations across Illinois and Missouri, including in Edwardsville, Swansea, and Creve Coeur. Secure your legacy and protect the people you love. Call 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL, or visit civialaw.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is St. Louis conservative.
Welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in. I was looking at photos online. So is the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool green again? Like, so they painted it blue. They filled it up with water. It looked really nice.
Oh, yeah.
And did they not treat the water? As soon as Donald Trump's out of the country, it falls apart again. Is that what just happened?
I didn't see you're saying it looks like it regressed?
It looks like it regressed. It looked really nice for the ceremony and the pictures and everything else. But now I'm showing some photos online where it looks like some of the algae returned to the far end of it, away from the memorial in the reflecting pool. And I thought, Donald Trump's out of the country for like 2 days and you already let this thing lapse. You got to be kidding me.
He gets back and cracks the whip. You get that looking nice again.
He comes back. He's not having any of it. He'll fly over, look out the window, see it, and he'll blow a gasket.
Make one phone call.
Kidding me? He makes one phone call. Well, if you have hotels and you have golf courses, you know that it has to look nice. And if he sees something like that, it ain't going to fly. I know that. But is that a little bit of an oversight? You put all this time and effort into making it look better and then immediately neglect it in the care that's needed to keep it looking nice.
I wonder how much
That's
work
a
goes
big
into
oversight.
I wonder how much work goes into trying to keep that thing up.
Yeah. Can I tell you something I really, really, really like, which I think is pretty amazing? Have you seen these World Cup tourists that have come to the United States and they talk about all the things that they really love about the United States?
No.
Oh, it's so great.
Donald
So,
Trump,
you know,
number
with the-
one.
a lot of people do like Donald Trump.
Oh,
Don't get me
really?
wrong. Yeah. People really like the idea of Donald Trump. They like that, you know, they're coming from sometimes these European countries and they're like, immigration problems. This is what we want. We want a Donald Trump to take care of the immigration problems we're seeing here in Europe. It's pretty bad right now in Europe. Really, really bad. But more or less, they're going to things like a Buc-ee's gas station and they're like blown away. Or they're going to like a Chick-fil-A and they're saying, why is this only here in the United States? How come I've never seen any of this anywhere? They're blown away by the food, the experience, the politeness. It's like Americans are not what we were told they were. They like the fire trucks. They like the Walmarts. They love them all. They like free refills. They love it all.
God. Well, this is how you're going to become morbidly obese, is if you have free refills and a fast food restaurant on every block. Welcome to
I know.
America.
And there was here in Michigan, there was a YouTubers, vloggers, Jason something. They were like traveling to a bunch of states and they spent a bunch of time in Michigan and they go back to England or wherever they're from. You can tell how invested I am in their story. I think it's so stupid. But they go back there and they're like, I was in America for a month and I gained 20 pounds. You know, and they're saying stuff like that. They're saying that in general, the American experience and the culture, the things we probably take for granted, they are just blown away by and they love it. So keep it on, man. These are the little things, the Americana things that kind of get lost in translation when you have certain cultural things that are told you can't be proud of. I don't see why you can't be proud that we have Chick-fil-A's. Like, when you look at that and you're like, okay, when you look at the entrepreneurs, the ones that started things, the ones that from the ground up created monster businesses that have now employed hundreds of thousands of people, and you're like, okay, go ahead and make fun of McDonald's for being an American thing and everyone's fat. But God bless McDonald's, man. Like, that's an Americana thing that I'm always going to go back and look at fondly. And like, you know, I like the collector Batman cups from the 1990s and the Grimace plates. Those things hold a special part of my heart.
I remember I studied abroad in Brussels, Belgium. And I remember one of the girls I was on the trip with, she would consistently go to McDonald's for lunch. And I'm thinking, you're in Belgium. Do you know how much access you have to incredible food? The baguettes, just all the pastries. Oh my gosh. And you're choosing to go to McDonald's? It's really not going to be much different than you can get it here in America. Maybe a little,
not really.
not much.
It's probably going to taste better in America because they have so many food restrictions in some of these other countries where they can't use certain amount of fats and butters and whatever.
And, dyes.
Yeah. You know what I would really like? The full experience. I would like a time machine because they say everything tasted better 70 years ago. Like, how would you like to go to a diner back in like the 1960s when you can sit down when they made food with, the worst stuff that's for you, but it tasted so good? That's the experience. I want to find a place that still cooks like that. Ones that don't let the government know how they're cooking. Yeah, hole in the wall.
Don't ask about what's in it. Just eat it.
That's right. All right. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show, and there's so much to get to this morning. Thank you for watching us. If you're watching our live video feed on Facebook, YouTube, X, Rumble, the Window World webcam, simply the best for less. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, it's spring. We're going to get more rain. And when that happens, if you have a leaky basement, you know the result. You probably don't sleep well because you're going to go up in the morning and have to clean up that basement. Just stop. Just stop doing that. You can go to Home Shield Foundation Repairs. They can take care of it for you. Call them at 314-271-9900. This is what Matt Hayes does for a living. He's a specialist at it. He's going to tell you the truth. He'll be honest with you. He'll fix it. He'll give you a lifetime warranty. If you have a leaky basement, you know the result. You probably don't sleep well because you're going to go up in the morning and have to clean up that basement. Just stop. Just stop doing that. If that's what's keeping you up at night, don't put up with it anymore. Be sure and tell him that Marc Cox sent you over there. 314-271-9900. His website, homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
You know the feeling. It's 2 a.m. You're awake, running the numbers in your head. Payroll's coming. A client hasn't paid. Costs just went up. And you're thinking, how am I going to make this work? That's where LendSeek comes in.
That was me. I had payroll in 3 days and money tied up in receivables. I couldn't wait weeks for a bank. I went to LendSeek, and within minutes, I saw real funding options. They were clear, upfront, no games. By the next day, the money was in my account. Payroll went out. Crisis over.
LendSeek uses AI to match your business with the right funding, up to $5 million in as fast as 24 hours.
With LendSeek, it's not just funding, it's knowing you're covered when things get tight.
If you've been in business for at least 1 year with at least $500,000 annual revenue, apply today. No upfront costs, no prepaid penalties, because in business, waiting isn't an option. Start ready, stay ready with LendSeek. Apply at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
Tony La Russa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Call Point Pest Control, mention Annie, and get 10% off your pest problem. Once summertime hits, ant populations begin to reach peak numbers, maybe even into the millions. Call Point Pest Control before they invade your home. Call Point Pest Control 636-798-0023.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
The Iran deal is a big deal at the G7 summit. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
They will not develop, purchase, buy, or any other thing. They're not going to acquire a nuclear weapon. If they do, all hell will rain down on them.
President Trump, a short time ago, sitting next to the Emir of Qatar at the summit in France.
Because they were really on the line. They were in the front line. They were being shot at just about as much as anybody, but you were a lot closer.
The president says the memorandum of understanding with Iran that'll be finalized Friday will have shipping fully flowing again through the Strait of Hormuz while nuclear negotiations continue. And the president insists
that we're not investing any money. We have the right to if we want, but we're not investing any money. We didn't pay for it like Obama did. He paid.
Referencing the 2015 Iran nuclear deal he canceled during the first Trump administration. But there are questions about what Iran gets financially, with details still not released.
The only economic benefit that Iran would see from the U.S. is lifting of the sanctions.
Fox's Aisha Hasni monitoring the summit from Geneva.
We're eager to see this text because that might be included in this text. But right now, according to the vice president and U.S. officials, it sounds like that money is coming from the Gulf. Gulf allies will put that fund together, $300 billion. We don't know if it's up front over the course of time.
Russia's war in Ukraine, also a big topic at the G7 summit. The Air Force will try to figure out why a B-52 bomber went down in a fiery crash right after takeoff in California, killing all 8 people on board. There are primaries or runoffs in 3 states today, Alabama and Oklahoma and Georgia, where the polls are just opening. Same in Washington, D.C., where they're voting for mayor.
Former council member Kenya McDuffie, council member and Democratic Socialist Janice Lewis George. They're the front runners in the Democratic primary, which all but assures them a general election win in this heavily Democratic city. One of the major issues splitting the two, addressing teen takeovers.
That's Fox's Rich Edson. America's listening to Fox News.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250 micro to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Another beautiful start here on this Tuesday morning, June 16th, 58 degrees and sunny downtown at 6:03. I'm Kim Sainand for 97.1 FM Talk. Work to repair that massive sinkhole here in downtown could now take weeks, St. Louis officials say. Their goal, though, is to reopen Interstate 44 by the end of this week. Of course, the closures near the sinkhole on Beidel would remain in place. The sinkhole, which is about 35 feet wide and 10 feet deep, has become sort of this unexpected attraction as people stop by Monday to see it in person. A new splash pad in St. Charles County has been forced to close just 2 days after opening following multiple reports of children getting injured. Some of the incidents that have happened at Kinetic Park involve children slipping and falling on rocks. The Parks and Recreation Department says that splash pad was evaluated, tested, and deemed safe before opening. So the splash pad will remain closed while the county reassesses that surface. It's not exactly clear at this point when it will reopen. A lawsuit challenging the Missouri law that returned control to the St. Louis Police Department to the state has been tossed out by a judge. St. Louis Board of Aldermen President Megan Green filed that lawsuit, claiming the law was unconstitutional. Cole County Judge Daniel Green ruled in favor of the state, and Attorney General Catherine Hanaway finding it does not violate Missouri's constitution. In sports, hey, Dustin May with the one-hit shutout for the Cardinals against the Padres yesterday. Final score 3-0. Game 2 coming up tonight at Busch Stadium, 6:45 start time. And Team USA's next match will be this Friday. That's against Australia, and they're coming off that win against Paraguay, 4-1. Just before 6:05 and 58 degrees. I'm Kim Sainand for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads this morning, we really do look good, at least on the Missouri side. Now, on the Illinois side, there's been so much road work, and we've got a delay already westbound 5564 from about the 70 split to the King Bridge split. And part of that is people are just taking the King Bridge over to avoid some of that road work, and it's already pretty slow as you head in from the Illinois side this morning, the length of the bridge. And of course, we have 44 still closed in both directions between the Poplar Street Bridge and the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge. So that's not helping. That especially is the section right there in front of the arch grounds that goes down underneath the overpasses, which is why we called it the depressed section for years. But that's what's going on. And the rest of the area, things look good and it's quiet and we've got light volume. This report brought to you by the fabulous people at the Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
It's a very nice morning once again around town, but we will be a little bit warmer later on today. The southerly flow coming back, partly sunny skies, a little windy, maybe a spot thunderstorm, but quite limited. 83 should do it for the high. So it's warmer, but it's not extreme. Then tonight, partly cloudy, 63. Wednesday, partly sunny, a windy day with some scattered showers and thunderstorms, but limited Wednesday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
58 degrees now on this Tuesday morning. We're coming up on 6:07. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show anytime or from anywhere on our free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
And welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Marc Cox this morning. Good morning, Kim.
Good morning.
Two stories I want to get to, but this one is a headline. I don't think I've ever seen a headline like this before from Fox 2. Fox 2 News has learned a Lincoln County woman accused of trading a foster child for a monkey has entered a plea deal with prosecutors. This is in Troy, Missouri. Have you ever read a headline into a story, a first line into a story like that? Accused of trading a foster child for a monkey. What?
What is her problem? What drug is she on is, I guess, the next question you should ask yourself. Well, you just by looking at the picture of her, it looks like she might be on drugs, if I'm being honest.
Brenda Deutsch, 70, pleaded guilty to a count of first-degree endangerment of a welfare child. Carries a sentence up to 7 years in prison, $10,000 fine. Lincoln County prosecutors telling Fox 2 News that the financial fraud case against Deutsch is still pending. So apparently it started when the school resource officer was tipped like, hey, this person hasn't been to school in a while, this one kid. And thank goodness schools pay attention to things like that. You know, there's a story up here in Detroit where kids were missing for I think it was 3 years and no one noticed. And they were living in basically on their own in this house, abandoned by their parents. And it was just an absolute tragedy what these kids lived through. And no one noticed they weren't going to school. At least the school noticed.
Well, I know a friend who fosters, and she's talked about how rigorous the whole process is. And it's hard because you want to strike a balance of making it where people can do that. And it's not so hard that it deters, a bunch of people from wanting to do it. But obviously you have to make it strict enough where you weed out a lot of the people who will not treat these kids right. I mean, it's so sad that someone would go through all of that to somehow be able to foster this child and then trade the child. You mean, so she traded, because I saw that headline, but I didn't click into it. So do you know if she traded the child for the monkey? So the person who had the monkey wanted the child, and that's just the way they did it. And they thought that the state wouldn't realize that and realize that the child's now with some other person and maybe say, hey, that's not okay.
So when they started to investigate and they're like, okay, where's this kid? They learned the kid was in Texas, and the school district was told that this was to them at this time was a rumor that the child was exchanged for a monkey for someone living in Texas. So they said, okay, let's just do the quick swap. After getting in touch with Texas law enforcement, they were able to contact the child. Child says they were okay. And apparently they said, well, the kid's not getting along with our kids and all this others. It's a whole deal. But when I see stuff like this, and you're right about the foster situation, I've known multiple people who have fostered children. And some have fostered with the intention of adopting. You can do that. It's kind of a more, I don't want to say affordable way, but, to adopt kids, it could be very, very, very expensive. People go out of country, to adopt children from China, for example. That's a popular thing for a while.
Mhm.
But so if you want to adopt a kid and you know specifically who you want to adopt, it's very expensive. There's also an option you can foster with the intent that you can adopt the kid if it falls through courts and the biological parents are deemed not fit. So they're looking for someone that could be in an adopt situation. And I've also heard from people who have fostered kids and they talk about other people who have fostered and they do it just for the paycheck and they neglect the kids. Other times they're fostering and people and these kids have really tough backgrounds and they keep those traits of those tough backgrounds, meaning, they go out there and they commit crimes and they're a danger. They've had situations like that too. It's a mixed bag, but I've never once heard anyone trading a foster kid for a monkey.
This was the first. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Is this a worse trade than Brittany Griner? And the
You're
merchant.
talking about getting her back from prison?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? So Brittany Griner from a Russian prison. What did we trade for her? I can't remember. It was like, the Merchant
Oh,
of
yeah, I
Death.
forgot about that.
Isn't that something? What? Brittany Griner. If she doesn't thank Donald Trump every night, like literally thank Donald Trump in her prayers every night, then she is missing out on an opportunity. Oh, no, it was Joe Biden that did that, wasn't it?
I think it was Joe
Oh, never
Biden
mind.
because, I don't think Trump would have done that. But I was
No,
trying
I
to
don't think so.
remember when that happened.
Yeah.
But didn't she come back and all of a sudden she was singing the praises of America and saying, maybe the United
sang
States
the
is
national
not that bad.
Yeah, she
Oh,
was like
boy.
singing the national anthem after that.
That whole thing. I was caught in 4K by my wife. I know we have to do the short list. If we have time on the back end of the short list, I have a story for you. I'm hoping Sue's listening because I think she would I think she would find this hilarious. But first, let's do the short list.
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
Well, there's a difference between expanding the court gradually and what these Democrats are talking about, which is packing the court, adding 4 liberal justices to flip the result of cases.
Yeah, and that's on Fox News, Jonathan Turley discussing how there's another effort by Democrats saying that, hey, if we were in power, then we can pack the Supreme Court. I think it was just Pete Buttigieg just a couple of weeks ago even brought it up. So it's something that is definitely top of mind for Democrats right now is packing the Supreme Court to get more favorable liberal justices on there.
Scott Pelley fired from CBS by the clack of far-right ideologues who bought it and handed it over to a zealot named Barry Weiss.
That's Joy Reid working the crowd up. It's so funny. It's like you're supposed to be an independent journalist and you're going out there talking about how much you hate Republicans. So, I don't know how many times you can do that before you're looked at like, hey, there might be a conflict of interest here in the position you're in.
The government has decided to ban social media access for children under 16. It's a big step for our country.
A lot of people want that. Even Republicans want that. It's so interesting. Can you ban social media for kids under 16? Sure. But what are the ramifications of that? We'll talk about later on the show.
I want to be clear. This is not just some fluke. It is a feature of a rigged economy.
I don't think she should be talking about rigged anything. She rigged her way through college, falsely claiming she was a Native American, getting all kinds of benefits under that, saying that she was this minority when she wasn't. Elizabeth Warren really should calm down here when it comes about rigged anything. I hope Sue's listening, and I know that she's getting ready for traffic. Can I tell you, I got caught in 4K, Kim. I was just caught red-handed and just nailed.
Wait, what do you mean you got caught in 4K?
So here's what happened. And I know that we had Todd Piro coming up here in a minute, but we sold our house in St. Louis, moved here to Detroit. And during the move, it's like this with any move. You'll lose things. Things just go missing. And my wife, for the longest time, said, hey, whatever happened to those shelves in the kids' rooms? We had these nice little shelves, and they're really cool looking and nice. And I have no idea what happened to these things. When you're packing stuff up for a move, you're going to multiple states, you're like, whatever. I don't care about these shelves. I got to get stuff in a box and onto the truck, and we got to get out of here because we don't got time. So for the longest time, my wife's, whatever happened to these shelves? Whatever happened to these shelves? Don't know, honey. I'm sorry. They're probably packed somewhere. No idea. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking I probably tossed them because we just didn't have space for it. So fast forward to this week, and all of a sudden we get an alert that said, hey, the house that you sold in St. Louis is up for sale again. And we're like, oh, that's cool. We can look at the photos from our house. We'll see if they made any changes. The new owners were flipping through the photos, and wouldn't it be the stupid shelves are still on the wall. And my wife points to Zillow and she says, are these the things you said you packed? And she is like, Exhibit A. I'm getting nailed like she's the county prosecutor. And she is pointing these things out in 4K. I am getting just absolutely, I mean, I am guilty. And there's no way to look at it other than that.
That's
and
hilarious.
She is so mad.
Can't even defend
Nailed
it. Yeah.
in 4K.
Oh my gosh.
There they are, still on the wall.
Be
The
like,
new
no,
owners
honey, they
leaving
got
them.
new one. They liked all the ones that they had maybe seen in the pictures from when we posted that I took down and packed. They got the same ones.
Yeah. Zillow got me good. I in the back of my mind, I thought, I could argue maybe they reused some of the photos, and that's why. No, because that still makes me guilty, because that means they're still there. I'm in trouble. So she is like, okay, what else did you leave behind? Now she wants a full audit of all the stuff. Oh, I want to do that. Worst stuff is moving from house to house. I don't want to have to relive this moving again, because who knows what's going to get lost. All right. So caught in 4K. So if my wife is listening, I apologize now. Todd Piro is going to join us, Fox and Friends first host, and he is fantastic. Coming up after the break. It's 2A Tuesday. Mark Walters is going to join us too. We'll talk some guns with him coming up on the show. And Kim on a Whim on the Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads this morning, we actually look pretty good. It's quiet out there. On the Illinois side, there's a little bit of volume on westbound 5564, headed for 3rd Street. That's where we've got road work. But things look better on the King Bridge at this hour. They were backed up just a couple of minutes ago, but they're fine right now. 44 is still closed in both directions between the Poplar Street Bridge and the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge. That closure will be in effect through the weekend. But other than those issues, we look good at this hour from North County down into Jeffco. We're off to a good start. This report brought to you by i3 Broadband. Time to toss out the dusty treadmill and your laggy cable internet and upgrade to 100% in-home fiber from i3 Broadband. They have their longest price guarantees ever on their gig speed internet services. Pardon me, no data caps, just pure speed. Go to i3broadband.com/radio and start your spring off right. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Today, the Cards, the Padres.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
How would you like a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter of St. Louis, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer? Give yourself peace of mind now by calling for a free estimate. 314-499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
Meet Linda. She's stuck in traffic with hundreds of thoughts racing through her mind, like what she needs to pack for her family's vacation and what they still need from the store. But you know what she's not thinking about? her HVAC system. Linda is a preferred partner with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Members of our preferred partner plan get 2 HVAC system checks per year. We clean and inspect your AC and furnace at each visit. Partners also get priority service and exclusive discounts starting at just $19 per month. Life is chaos, but with Air Comfort Service, you'll have peace of mind with your HVAC system. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
The time is 6:20 here on this Tuesday morning. This time check is sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
St. Louis Morning Brief.
All right, not great news for anyone who uses Interstate 44 downtown because they're saying that the repair work for the sinkhole that opened up over the weekend, they're saying it could now take weeks. And usually if they say, oh, maybe 2 weeks, I'd tack on at least another week because they'll say something came up last minute and delayed them. By the way, Ryan, they're trying to figure out exactly what's going on here. They believe that the sewer main likely collapsed, but they're not really sure until crews can reach it. They say that the sewer main is located some 30 to 35 feet below ground. And the sinkhole itself, they said, was about 10 feet. So they have to dig another 20 feet or something like that, I would think, to get to that water main.
Wouldn't you be able to smell it if the sewer main was busted up right there?
Well, but then to repair it, right, you'd have to dig that far anyway.
Oh, man, just what a bubbling crude. Like, that would be the worst kind of eruption of a sewer main busting right through that hole, spouting out like a volcano. Wouldn't that be the worst?
Man, it's funny. Apparently, it's become kind of this spectacle where people are going to just see it in person. It's like, hey, honey, let's have a fun Monday afternoon and go visit the sinkhole. Yeah, field trip, kids. Are they going to have like buses coming in and stopping so the kids can all pose in front of the sinkhole? Kids, this is what happens when you don't invest in your water infrastructure.
Oh, they're all scared.
See, you need to be scared. That will teach you a lesson that you'll remember for the rest of your life, honey. They are hoping to reopen Interstate 44 at the end of this week. So that would be good news because, man, it's not just the actual smaller roads that are closed where it actually happened, but a portion of Interstate 44 has been affected. So, yeah, that would be good if they could get Interstate 44 completely reopened, but it's still going to be a mess and likely take weeks is what they're saying to be able to get this whole thing figured out. So avoid that area if you can. So last week, we were talking about this whole situation involving a Collinsville teen who was picked up by ICE and was about to be deported. And it's funny because I do the whole air quotes thing because it just reminds me of the Maryland man, where it's like was the 16-year-old living in Collinsville? Yes. Is he a teenager? Yes. I understand where they got that, but it's the way that they write some of these headlines that seems very intentional to kind of pull out your emotion and make you feel like the people who want to deport them are absolute monsters. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we're learning a little bit more about this. So there was this guy, Jesus, as I mentioned, 16 years old, who was in Christian County, Illinois, supposedly there doing work, even though he lives in Collinsville. And he and 2 older teens, Hector and Jonathan, ended up being detained by ICE last Tuesday morning. They were stopped by law enforcement. Now we know why. It says that the traffic stop was reportedly conducted because the vehicle's registration was suspended. The vehicle was towed. Sheriff's office said no one in the car even had a valid ID or insurance. Mm-hmm. So teens were given a ride by the officers to a Casey's gas station. I hope they got breakfast pizza because it's fantastic there. Anyway, they ended up waiting. It says, listen to this. While they waited for transportation outside the heat, I assume they mean outside in the heat, almost as if to say they're suffering. Anyway, they ended up getting picked up by ICE. And of course, everyone, all the lefties are saying this is appalling. How can you possibly do this? I'd like to know what was going on where are the parents? This guy, Jesus, was supposedly with his aunt and uncle, and they were documented or whatever. But that's what's frustrating for me. I do feel for these kids, these teenagers who are in this situation, assuming that they came over. They don't have a choice. Their parents brought them here, whoever brought them here. And they knew what they were doing. That adult did. And now they put them in a situation like this.
The kids were 16. How old?
Well, Jesus was 16, and then it just says that the 2 other ones, Hector and Jonathan, were older, but I don't see where it specifies exact. Maybe 17, 18, something like that.
Driving without a license, without insurance, on a expired plate, in a car I'm guessing is not registered to anyone. the temporary tag on the back or something like that.
Well, temp tags
Okay.
are very common here in the St. Louis area, but I mean, yeah, there's some real sketchiness going on there.
That's dangerous in itself. Okay, you should look at that and say they could have seriously hurt some people just in that scenario alone.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. So what do you think about these data centers? Because there's been a big effort across the St. Louis region to build them. And we've seen what's happened in some of these communities where they've tried and it does not go over well. And they've just announced that Amazon's building a $10 billion data center in Montgomery City, which is about 75 miles. It would be a little bit north, primarily west, so mid-Missouri of St. Louis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's big investments. They're going to be built anyway. It's so different than, 8 years ago when Amazon was looking for a second headquarters and all these cities were like clamoring, please build it here. We'll give you anything you want, as if it was a sports franchise. Please, we'll buy you a stadium and we'll build it and we'll give you the land. We'll let you lease it for free and we'll give you all the taxes. They did everything they could to roll out the carpet for Amazon. Fast forward now to 2026. And these big tech companies want to put these billion-dollar investments that would give a lot of money to states and communities. And they're like, not in my watch.
And I see both sides. This is tough. You know, they're trying to say that Governor Kehoe was saying the project will create some 400 direct jobs. It will generate hundreds of millions of dollars in tax revenue over the next 25 years. But then I also understand why people are not in love with them. But this is the future, unfortunately. This is where we're going. So they have to go somewhere.
Well, part of SpaceX is putting these data centers in space. You understand Elon Musk has mentioned
the trillionaire now?
Yeah.
The trillionaire.
Part of the company is, forget about it, buying farmland up.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to put them in space. But part of it, too, is, decentralizing it. That might not be a bad idea. But when you have it centralized in certain spots and, they talk about the water and the energy resources necessary to put these things forth, they always say, oh, it's not going to affect any rates of people. That's such a lie.
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
Absolutely. It's going to impact people.
Real quick one here before we go to break. So Kinetic Park is a really nice park in St. Charles County, pretty recent, and they just opened this splash pad, I think last Friday. Well, 2 days after they opened it, they had to close it because there were multiple reports of children being injured. Like, for example, they're running on the splash pad. The surface was, I guess, slippery. They were falling and they were cracking their head on rocks. And the Parks and Rec department, they're saying, look, we tested it. We did everything we needed to do to verify that it was safe. Not safe enough, I guess. So they had to close it and they're reassessing the surface of that. And I'm not sure when they're reopening, but we had something like, it was some pop-up holiday thing where it was the same kind of thing where they said they tested the surface, but people kept falling and getting hurt and they had to close it. It was a mess.
That sounds terrible. I hate hearing stuff like that. That's the last thing you want to do is hear your kids start crying at a playground. That's the worst. Well, I last hour lied and I said Todd Piro was coming up. He's actually next hour. I got the times mixed up. John Lamping is going to join us, former Missouri senator, coming up after the break on 97.1 FM Talk.
Looking for a smarter, safer way to invest? For a limited time, lock in a great rate with Together Credit Union's 11-month CD special. From day one, your return on investment is guaranteed. No market swings, no surprises. Just a competitive, fixed rate that steadily grows your deposit. Make your money work harder with a financial partner that puts you first. Visit a Together Credit Union branch near you or go online to togethercu.org to learn more. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
Are you tired of feeling sick and tired? I'm Dr. Nick Barnes of Health from Within Family Chiropractic. Our simple 5-step approach aligns your health naturally. We correct spinal abnormalities to maximize nerve supply, focus on pure and simple nutrition, exercise and oxygen, mindset, and minimizing toxins in your body. Transform your health today with Health from Within, conveniently located on Manchester in Rock Hill or online at healthfromwithinstl.com.
I'm Bill Hemmer, and these are the most impactful moments in American history. On December 18, 2019, the House of Representatives convened for a historic moment. In a mostly party-line vote, the House approved 2 articles of impeachment, abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, against President Trump. It was a moment Democrats had been preparing for months, all stemming from a phone call between President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky. It would mark the 3rd presidential impeachment in U.S. history, a vote that tested the tolerance of Congress and the strength of a leader. Supporters of the president said it was a witch hunt, while critics believed it was a necessary act to protect democracy. The Senate would ultimately acquit President Trump on both charges.
America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk, sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning, beautiful morning, and traffic looks okay. We've got a little bit of moderate volume northbound 55 at 270 and a little bit southbound 270 at 64, but I mean really light. And on the Illinois side, 55, 64, slowing at 3rd Street. We've got road work going on there, but we're fine on the bridges themselves. And don't forget, of course, 44 remains closed between the Poplar Street Bridge and the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge in both directions. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, Dad, what causes drains to clog?
Grease, hair, soap scum, and tree roots.
Tree roots?
This town has old pipes and big trees. They find each other.
They grow inside pipes?
They bust into pipes.
Whoa.
Once they're in, the water stops flowing.
Can we fix it?
The big green grasser machine can fix any clog.
Green is always grasser at grasserhomeservices.com.
Hey guys, are you dealing with low energy weight gain or issues in the bedroom? Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, and they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests with results in about 20 minutes. Get in, get answers, get back to the top of your game. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Again, that's GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
You know, you go by your home and you kind of have the rose-colored glasses on. You just think everything's amazing. And then you move in and you live there for a few years and you start realizing that there are maybe some hidden stress points at your home. Like there's just not enough storage or some cramped spaces, poor layouts. And you just wish there were some changes. You don't have to move. All you need to do is go to lakesiderd.com. Lakesiderd.com. That's the website for my friends at Lakeside Renovation and Design. Great family, by the way, that runs it. This is a veteran-founded, family-run business. They have a beautiful showroom in the Chesterfield Valley. I've been there. You can go visit it and see some of the latest trends, talk to some of their in-house designers. The whole crew, by the way, is in-house at Lakeside Renovation and Design. But they know the struggles that homeowners have, and they want to make sure that you love your space. They don't want you going with something that's just uber trendy. Of course, if that's the look you're going for, great. But they know that if you're making this kind of an investment on your home, that you want something that's timeless, that's going to last. They're using these top-notch materials. And again, they can really help you with anything you want. So it could be a custom kitchen. It could be a spa-like bathroom. That's been very popular to have these heated floors, the larger walk-in showers, the freestanding tubs, even a steam shower. How does that sound? Anything you're really looking for could be even just a finished basement or changing the layout of your basement to make it where you kind of have this great space for your family and friends when they come over or for a place to kids to play there. Anything you're looking for, Lakeside Renovation and Design can help you. Plus, they're offering financing. This is a company you can partner with and feel good that they're going to get the job done right. It's Lakeside Renovation and Design, lakesiderd.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
From Festus to Freeburg, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. People keep looking to government for the answer. Government's the problem. Government would shut the doors and sneak away for about 3 weeks. We'd never miss them.
Stop thinking about what I want, what he wants, what your parents want. What do you want?
You know, that clip there, government could sneak away for 3 weeks and no one would miss them. Kind of, until there's a big vote or a shutdown. And then where's everybody for the vote? Joining us now is a former Missouri Senator, John Lamping. Welcome to the show this morning.
Well, good morning, Ryan, Kim. Great to be with you both.
I wanted to start off with some of these teen takeovers. A lot of cities are having problems with it. St. Louis is having problems with it. Teens come downtown, cause a lot of issues. You know, we saw over the course of time, you know, maybe a couple of years ago, it was these temporary, you know, rentals properties during holidays where, okay, it's a big holiday. They'll rent something downtown and they'll like basically take a block over and start twerking on top of a police car. And it seemed like that would happen a couple of times a year, but now these teen takeovers are like every weekend. It seems like it's happening frequently and it's causing some really big issues. What do you do for situations like that, you think?
Well, yeah, it's the teens are smart. They're essentially arbitraging the system. You know, they did what you described earlier in terms of, you know, rentals and things like that. And what they saw was there was little to no consequences because of their actions. And even now, like I know here in St. Louis or in Shrewsbury, there's a takeover of a Sky Zone, and fights broke out, and there were hundreds of. I think they were just honor students who were just trying to blow off steam from their summer internships. That's just a joke, but there's no consequences, you know. So like it's like these are mostly happening in jurisdictions where there's an overarching belief that to prosecute is a mistake. To when you sentence someone, you sentence them leniently, and so I think this is going to continue until the overarching thoughts around prosecuting crime have to change. And the teens are really smart. They know where to go. They know they're overwhelming whatever security or police are there, and they also know after the fact that nothing happens. So sadly, I think it's just going to continue to grow. Like this is a much larger scale, and I'm sure you're seeing all around the country at all of these resort areas. They're taking over beach communities, and you know, higher end areas are suffering. It's not just the Sky Zone in Shrewsbury, but it's somebody who's away on vacation in some resort area, and they're having their their vacations ruined by these groups.
Governor Kehoe just signed that bill, was it a few months ago, that relates to juvenile crime and strengthening crime laws in general. Do you think that would make a difference, or what more should that bill have included, do you think?
Well, I think that's a good step, but it really comes down to the prosecutors, right? So this concept of prosecutorial discretion exists, which means, you know, I'm the local prosecutor. I decide you may have broke a law that's clearly you've broken the law, but I still have the discretion to prosecute you or not. And that's where I talk about this overarching political philosophy that prosecution couldn't occur. Obviously, an extreme example was Kim Gardner. And gratefully, she's no longer in office, but in her time in office, she got to decide what crimes would be prosecuted or not. So yeah, strong laws are great, but stronger prosecutors are what's required.
Yeah, let's look at the strategy we've seen with these teen takeovers. The strategy is, you know what, police officers will give the kid a ride home so the parents can go take them back to the area to go and continue on and do whatever they want. That doesn't seem like a great strategy for these parents, but for whatever reason, they allow this sort of thing to happen. So do there need to be some sort of repercussions to the parents after these kids get caught?
Well, look, the kids don't just wake up and decide to go take on a larger scale endeavor like they're doing now. It begins earlier on in life with, lack of parental control and discretion and direction. So, short of greatly expanding the Division of Family Services, I don't know what you're going to do. You could try to charge the parents and prosecute the parents, but that seems like a second derivative of what the crime that's occurring. And if we're not willing to prosecute the teens and for what they're doing, the probability that we're going to prosecute the parents is slim to none.
John, I wanted to talk about Amendment 5, which of course would eliminate Missouri state income tax. And I want to read you what we received as a media advisory the other week. It says, doctors, patients sound the alarm on Amendment 5's impact on healthcare costs. And it's basically trying to say that, even though it's exempt, that it's not explicitly said that they couldn't do this in the future. What do you make of this whole thing? Because this to me almost seems like fear mongering.
Well, that's the problem with Amendment 5 is that it's purposefully vague. So what we're being asked to do is we're kind of giving constitutional authority to the legislature to work towards eliminating the income tax without any specifics or enough specifics or detail. And what that means then is the opponents can fill in the gaps. They can make up whatever they want to make up. I mean, this idea that we would tax healthcare services, the governor's been very explicit about not doing that. But that doesn't mean that the opposition is going to create this false concern, this false fear. You're going to see a lot of things like this going forward. I think it'll be, do you tax your babysitter? Do you tax services on your cars and things like that? So we're in an uphill climb. I'm for Amendment 5, but it's an uphill climb because it's just too easy to scare people. Now, the reality of the situation is less than half of all Missourians work. So when you eliminate the income tax, it's a tax on work. So you have less than half the people will see the tax cut. And that means that the other half of the people that don't work, that don't pay income taxes, well, it's easy to see where they would understand or think that their taxes were going to go up. So It's going to be a challenge. And the thing with, Governor Keogh that I like about Governor Keogh is he's very tenacious and he's not afraid to lose on an issue initially and to keep going forward. I think that, legislature could have started this themselves. And I'll be curious to see if this doesn't pass, if they decide to take that tack next session and try to make some of these changes just legislatively.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, the states that have eliminated the income tax and how easy it is for them to attract businesses to come to them. And you notice this, even if you were to go back and look at press releases, and it seems like politicians, governors, they're very quick to point out when a business moves into the state. And if you go back maybe 10 years, 15 years ago, 1,000 jobs are coming in, 5,000 jobs are coming in. This is a big deal. Now they're bragging about 50 jobs coming in. If they have an income tax, they're not getting the big businesses wanting to come in anymore. The big investments not wanting to come in because those are going to states without the income tax. And you're finding this in sports athletes too. It's been like this for a long time. They're making big money. They finally, are getting the big contracts. They prefer to work in states where the income tax is going to be less or not at all. They don't like to move to these spots where they're going to go to California and just have to get, half their income gone for every game they play there. So it's a real power move if you're a state that can get rid of the income tax, because it does absolutely grow your population and grow your businesses.
That's for sure. Now, but the reality is that the last time a state eliminated its income tax was in 1959 when Tennessee did it. And the complexity of our tax code now, I mean, think about just in our lifetimes, how many more taxing jurisdictions exist? Think about how high sales tax exists today when our state is only taxing sales by 4%. So had Missouri tried to do this in 1960 and follow Tennessee's lead, then it would have been a far simpler thing to do. And back in 1960, our sales tax in most local communities was around 5% because the local communities hadn't learned the game of adding sales tax on. So, there's no doubt it's empirically, it's very, very easy to see how zero income tax states are the perfect incentive for people to work because the workers are the ones that pay income taxes. And again, when you think about the fact that less than half of Missourians work, now the good news is that workers tend to vote more than the people that don't work. But when half of the state doesn't work, then they don't pay the income tax. And that's problematic when it comes time to try to eliminate it.
Yeah. Let's get all these teens at a job takeover where they go work and get a paycheck as opposed to going out at night.
They can work on the
ripping
on the sinkhole. There you go.
They can work on the sinkhole.
We can get them all sinkhole internships. Yeah, that's what they're looking to do. Yeah.
John Lamping, thank you so much. Former Missouri Senator at John Lamping on social media. You can find him. So nice to have you here.
Both.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.
Well, can't the instead of the takeovers being at night, can't they happen on the morning and clean up trash in like parks and things? Do something productive. Do something nice.
Oh man, it's
Could that
so
be an
irritating.
I know.
Did I hear this the other day that if your car is damaged in a riot of some sort, so like a teen takeover, that insurance companies often won't cover that because it's kind of where you have the clause about an act of God, that it's kind of falls under that same little clause of if X, Y, or Z happens, it's not our responsibility. I heard that.
So
Someone
ridiculous.
please correct me if I'm wrong, because that I kind of understand it, but that's infuriating.
Yeah. How many times have you heard the politician, and they always do this, like the AAAs and the car companies of the world. If we were to just fix Missouri's roads, think of how much money we would save on unnecessary car repairs. Well, how much would we save on insurance if they enforced the laws? We should do that first, maybe.
Seriously. Which one came first, the chicken or the egg?
In other news coming up after the break on the Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got a little bit of volume appearing out there. Northbound 55 in the right lanes at 270. Northbound 270, Doherty Ferry through Manchester. Eastbound 70 still looks pretty good from out west into downtown. So does 64. But we've got road work on the Illinois side. Westbound 55-64 near 3rd Street and lane closures. That's causing a delay. And a little bit of a slowdown on Route 3 at Monsanto Avenue due to a slow-moving train. And don't forget, 44 closed in both directions between the Poplar Street Bridge and the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge. This report brought to you by McKelvey Homes. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
McKelvey Homes is breaking ground on something new in O'Fallon, Strawberry Farms. When McKelvey builds something, they do it right. Visit McKelvey Homes to schedule a tour at Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today and move up to McKelvey.
97.1 FM Talk in action.
It's Marc Cox. Our friends at the USO Missouri are looking for volunteers. From Lambert Airport to Fort Leonard Wood, volunteers help provide comfort and support to those serving our country. Learn more at missouri.uso.org. The clock is ticking because the 16th, Tuesday, is when we're getting together again with the Retirement Advisory Group out at the Doubletree in Chesterfield. You can show up. You can hang out with us. We get there about 6 o'clock. The event starts at 6:30. It's for free. Bob and Tammy Kershaw are going to be there. They're going to be the ones telling you how to handle your retirement. Annie Fry and Mark Reardon will join me, and we're always there meeting and greeting people and just kind of hanging out for a little while. It's a heavy 97.1 crowd, and we just have a good time. It's like seeing old friends, right? So then at 6:30, Bob and Tammy will take over. There'll be cookies and refreshments there for you if you want. Very low-pressure event, just designed to inform you of how to protect that 401k or 403b or your nest egg, however you've got it built up from a downturn in the market, and to make sure you could structure that to last through your retirement. Reach them at 314-993-9494. Tell them you're coming. Go to retirementkey.com.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
In the Palm Beaches, we are truly in a league of our own with an unbeatable collection of year-round sports on display. Take a swing at tennis or pickleball, or get a front row seat to polo, baseball, and everything in between. Then find out why we're called Florida's golf capital, with more than 145 beautifully manicured sun-soaked courses, perfect for pros and beginners. When it comes to sports destinations, there's no competition. Curate your vacation at thepalmbeaches.com.
Weekday mornings at 9.
See, here's what bothers me, this statement. I was stunned to hear that.
The Brian Kilmeade Show.
What does that have to do with running the country?
Brian Kilmeade on 97.1
I get it.
FM Talk. The Marc Cox Morning Show is St. Louis conservative.
What's happening?
Go, you know the thing.
What the hell is going on?
In other news.
Well, to celebrate America's 250, they are putting together a time capsule that they don't want open for another 250 years. And each state is contributing something into that time capsule. So I went over to Missouri, and the first thing is a letter from the governor.
This was meth from 2026.
They did not put meth in there. And outside of the letter, they decided to put in a governor's coin. It's a challenge coin painted, and it says, quote, Mike Kehoe, Hehoe, Missouri governor. I thought, wait a minute. First thought was, did I time slip and I'm in an alternate universe and it's not Kehoe, it's Hehoe. And I looked it up and I'm just like, okay, one of the two things are going to happen. Either the America 250's website's wrong, or they sent them a misprint coin to troll the future, to change history. Would that be great?
Deep.
Man, think about some of these time capsules are maybe 15, 20, 30 years. And even then you realize the difference in things. But think about 250 years, how different this will look.
Yeah, we'll forget it's there. Like it's going to be buried. Nobody's ever going to see this thing ever again.
Oh, my gosh. So AI, people have a lot of concerns about it. You love it. You hate it. I admit I use ChatGPT probably weekly now, but there was some software engineer who's just received a religious exemption from using AI at her job, which is a large tech entertainment company. This is a Unitarian Universalist who says that I guess she had concerns about it related to her faith, and she ended up being granted this.
So what was her issue? What was the...
let's see here. It says, I don't know that she has specifically come out and said anything, but it says this woman who's a spokeswoman for the Unitarian Universalist Association, who does not have any direct knowledge about the exemption, says in a statement that the organization supports scientific discovery while recognizing that advances in technology must be guided by an ethical understanding of humanity. But I guess Pope Leo had come out and also been critical of AI and said that there was potential that it could threaten human dignity, which he's probably not wrong about that. I mean, I don't plan to not use AI, but I mean, maybe more people will go for the religious exemption of having to use AI.
I wonder how long that'll last.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wonder how, that could be applied legally speaking, a religious exemption from AI, and then it is used on you by the U.S. government. Could they infringe on your constitutional rights, and then you'd be able to sue them based on your religious exemption and the government infringing on it?
That's a good question.
Yeah. We got to get Brad Young on the phone. I need to know if we can get a class action lawsuit going on. Do you watch Love Island?
No.
Anyone here watch Love Island?
No.
So the executive producer of Love Island, he's 40 years old, died. James Barker. They were filming in Fiji, died while filming the show. And I was shocked to learn Love Island is the #1 show on television right now.
Is it really? That's sad.
Love Island.
No.
That's not my thing. And I was listening to some talk radio hosts say, if the #1 show on television isn't discussed on your talk show, you are missing out, because this is what people are experiencing in their lives. So you need to talk about these things. And I thought, I can't I can't talk about Love Island.
I feel like I'd put that in the category of trash TV.
Yeah.
Isn't it a dating show? It's a dating reality show, I think.
I've only seen the ads, and when they come on, I say, kids, don't look.
Avert your eyes, kids. Okay, so what they might want to look at is this really cool apple. I know it sounds like, oh, cool, an apple. No, well, there's this New Zealand grocery store that has this really rare apple, and apparently people are traveling just to see the apple. And what's different about it is that half of the apple is red and half of the apple is yellow. It's known as a chimera. I'm probably butchering that, but a chimera apple. They're caused by rare gene mutations that cause one apple to form two different genetic backgrounds, essentially resulting in a really cool half and half variety.
Now, see, I would travel to see that, but I'm the only person I can think of that would.
You just have to get a ticket to New Zealand. It's not that far.
Right.
You put on the while you're traveling there. It's not like journalists or site. You're like, I'm here to see the apple.
I want to see the apple. It occurs in less than 1 in 1 million fruits. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it's not genetically engineered. It's just a naturally occurring mutation, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
That's not so rare. Like, how many fruits? I would say they make multi-million fruits a day of that. So there's probably, a dozen of these a day that are coming out?
No, I see what you mean. Just of the amount of apples in the world, but it's a pretty rare thing. And look it up online. It's kind of crazy.
Pretty cool, and it's pretty like straight down the middle,
right?
Which is very impressive.
Yeah, that's something
cool.
else. Well, I guess we got time for one quick one. More Bigfoot sightings in Michigan. I know there's Bigfoot sightings all over the place. I don't know if you see them in Missouri as much, but now that is a tourist attraction. You tell someone if you go to this certain lighthouse on the sandy shores of Lake Michigan, then you'll be able to catch perhaps a Bigfoot sighting. It's big business here in places where people say they've seen Bigfoot. I would travel to go see Bigfoot.
Bigfoot does not exist.
Thank you.
I think there's a chance Bigfoot exists. There's a big world out there. There's a lot of things we haven't witnessed with our own eyes yet. And I think it could happen. Who knows? Big Fox News update coming out. Apparently, the FBI foiled a potential terrorist plot. We'll have that next.
Boy, those 5-star reviews are really starting to mount for my friends at Rhino Shield because it's largely focused on their crews. I mean, Rhino Shield is great. I had it on my house for 17 years. The installation, though, takes the better part of a week. You get 2 to 3 coats of this beautiful Rhino Shield on there. Oftentimes, the crew has to come in and maybe replace a few boards or do a little fix-up before they do the job. Oftentimes, these reviews are, hey, the crew was great. They cleaned up after themselves. They were professional. They got the work done. And boy, does this Rhino Shield look great. This is how much confidence they have in Rhino Shield. It's lab tested. It's 100% waterproof. You've heard me say it's got some insulating factor in there. Plus, you get a 25-year warranty. I don't know any other product around, or at least not many, that are offering that kind of warranty against chipping, cracking, or peeling. So reach out to Darren today. Get your free evaluation, 877-25-RHINO, or online at 877-25rhino.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Cards fans ready to dress for the occasion? Well, Friday, June 26th, as the Cardinals take on the Miami Marlins, you'll get a brand new all-over Prince shirt. But that's just the start. You'll also get the matching shorts, too. It's not just a shirt, but a full summer set that brings a tropical twist to game night and makes waves in the stands. Available in medium and XL while supplies last. More details and tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
The weekend starts here. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou with $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at Cardinals.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Is part of the deal with Iran. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump insisting again Iran won't be able to build a nuclear weapon.
And if they do, they suffer unbelievable consequences.
Also saying at the G7 summit in France.
We are not investing any money in Iran, by the way. That rumor got out there yesterday. It was ridiculous.
Iran could get sanctions relief as the nuclear talks continue under an agreement that will allow a free flow of shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. The president also says he's not happy with Israel's continued attacks on Hezbollah in Lebanon.
It just goes on forever. And when that happens, it throws a negative light on the big deal, and that's the deal with Iran.
Fox's Trey Yingst reports from Tel Aviv.
So this is really important because the Iranian foreign minister says that any attack in Lebanon will be considered a violation of the Memorandum of Understanding. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last night indicated that the Israelis will continue to operate against Hezbollah, an Iran-backed group that is continuing to fire drones and rockets into Israel.
2 days after the UFC 250 event at the White House, we found out the FBI disrupted an alleged plot to attack it. 5 people in custody, at least 18 others being investigated. And Fox's Todd Piro reports.
The suspects allegedly traveled to Fredericksburg, Virginia to make final preparations for the attack. And the alleged plan allegedly included explosive-packed drones hitting buildings near the event, forcing a mass evacuation, and then steering crowds, get this, toward a pre-staged sniper team.
Of course, that never happened. The plot was thwarted. The president called the UFC event Sunday night spectacular. The polls are just opening now in Oklahoma, where it's primary day, and there's also voting in key Senate races now, runoffs in Alabama and Georgia, and there's a primary for mayor in Washington, D.C. America's listening to Fox News.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250 micro to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
You're great at protecting your data, but lots of places could still expose you to identity theft.
I thought it was safe.
If that happens, LifeLock gives you a U.S.-based restoration agent who will stick by your side from start to finish. Phone calls, filing documentation, preparing insurance claims, your agent handles it all. In fact, we're so confident restoration is guaranteed or your money back. Isn't it nice to have someone like that on your side? Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Good morning. I'm Kim Sainand for 97.1 FM Talk. Sunny, 58 degrees here downtown. It is 7:03. Here's what's making headlines on this Tuesday, June 16th. Unfortunately, work to repair a massive sinkhole downtown could now take weeks, St. Louis officials say. Their goal, they say, though, is to reopen Interstate 44 by the end of this week. Of course, closures, as you might expect, near the sinkhole itself there on Biddle would remain in place. This sinkhole, which is about 35 feet deep and 10 feet wide, has become sort of this unexpected attraction as people stopped by Monday to see it in person. A new splash pad in St. Charles County has been forced to close just 2 days after opening, following multiple reports of children getting injured. Some of the incidents at Kinetic Park involved children slipping and falling, hitting their heads on rocks. The Parks and Recreation Department says that splash pad was evaluated, tested, and of course deemed safe before opening. The splash pad will now remain closed until the county reassesses that surface. It's not clear when it will reopen. A lawsuit challenging the Missouri law that returned control of the St. Louis Police Department to the state has been tossed out by a judge. St. Louis Board of Aldermen President Megan Green filed that lawsuit, surprise, surprise, claiming the law was unconstitutional. Cole County Judge Daniel Green ruled in favor of the state, and Attorney General Catherine Hanaway finding it does not, in fact, violate Missouri's constitution. In sports, hey, Dustin May with the one-hit shutout for the Cardinals against the Padres yesterday. Final score 3-0. Game 2 coming up tonight at Busch Stadium. First pitch 6:45. And for any soccer fans, Team USA's next match, that'll be this Friday against Australia. Keep in mind, they're just coming off that great win against Paraguay. 4-1, the final score of that one. 58 degrees here downtown just before 7:05. I'm Kim Sainanj for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
A little bit of volume out there at this hour on northbound 270. It's mainly between Doherty Ferry and Manchester. Little bit of a volume slowdown on eastbound Highway 30 at 270 as well. But we still look pretty good. Now, southbound 61 starting to slow, just some moderate volume headed for 64. And we've got 44 closed in both directions downtown between the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge and the Poplar. On the Illinois side, road work, 5564 3rd Street causing delays. Accident reported eastbound 64 at the 70 split. And northbound Route 3 pretty slow as you head for the Poplar Street Bridge at this hour. This report is brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. Simply the finest when it comes to mirror glass and shower doors. And you really can't find better quality, prices, or service. And they have the basics all the way up to the elite. Barron Mirror Glass and Door can't be beat. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
It's a very nice morning once again around town, but we will be a little bit warmer later on today. The southerly flow coming back, partly sunny skies, a little windy, maybe a spot thunderstorm, but quite limited. 83 should do it for the high. So it's warmer, but it's not extreme. Then tonight, partly cloudy, 63. Wednesday, partly sunny, a windy day with some scattered showers and thunderstorms, but limited Wednesday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Yeah, you heard Dave say 80s later, but right now, if you're just leaving the house at 7:07, not too bad. 58 degrees here is our temperature. As always, you can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show anytime or from anywhere on our free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
And welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Marc Cox. And happy to be with you here again this morning. These mornings, they go by so quick. Sometimes you don't even realize how fast it goes. It's already past 7 o'clock, and we saw that Kash Patel posting on X, pretty serious thing, said on June 10th, which was not that long ago. So June 10th would be last Wednesday. FBI and our law enforcement partners became aware of a potential threat to the UFC America 250 event in Washington, D.C., involving individuals outside the national capital region. And thanks to the rapid action of the FBI, our partners in the Department of Justice, in a multi-state operation, multiple individuals are now in custody, and allegedly planned attacks were stopped cold. As a result, represented the best of investigative work. Also, nothing out of the ordinary for this law enforcement team, built to detect, respond to, and bring to justice those who threaten the lives of American citizens. So, Fox News reported that the group allegedly planned to use drones with explosives to hit buildings near the fight and target the crowds as they fled the UFC fight this weekend. Fox News also reported other alleged perpetrators were planning to storm the White House at that point. Not confirmed details outside of Fox News. I was looking at an NBC write-up, so they basically quote Fox News on this one, so they have the scoop. That's pretty serious. And with the event going on this weekend, you know what concerns me a little bit is that it was only a couple of days before. So the event happened on Sunday, and the FBI didn't learn about it until Wednesday, 4 days before. That seems a little too close to comfort because it seems like they were operating pretty quietly up until that point.
And
I'm glad that they stopped this.
What's interesting too is, they have the search warrant that they executed in Cincinnati where the first arrest was made. And then it says that some of them traveled to Fredericksburg, Virginia on June 12th and the 13th to make preparations for the attack. I'd like to know what they, were discovered. It says that upon investigating a suspect's iPhone, authorities found at least 23 users of encrypted chat app Signal involved in discussing the parameters of what would be this terror attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's this. It would be bad. The president's there. You have people watching. Let me just say this. The people perpetrating this, is this like pro-Hamas people? Is this like Palestine people? Who do you think would be the ones that would be doing this?
Well, I think I might have the answer to that question. It says a suspect told investigators the goal of the attack was to target capitalist elites, billionaires, and politicians who receive money from AIPAC, which is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. So, yeah, I mean, basically, these are people who hate Jewish people and who can't stand Trump and think that anybody who's a capitalist is just, an elitist and essentially deserves to die, which is essentially the left.
Do you think Elizabeth Warren coming out with those comments, like basically aligning herself with the same sentiments that these terrorists had, maybe she regrets saying what she did about Elon Musk right about now? Because this seems to be the shared thought among them that we're trying to perpetrate it, that and the hate of Jews.
That's what's so crazy to me is the liberals want to sit here and say we need to tone down the rhetoric, and they want to say that Trump's, inciting violence. And yeah, some of the stuff Trump says is stupid, and I wish he'd be quiet on social media, but Trump's not calling for violence. A lot of these people on the left, they truly will call for violence, and then they're stunned, or they at least pretend like they're stunned when someone actually tries to carry it out, and then they say, well, I don't agree with that. Well, what you just said is very much encouraging people to do that.
Yeah, no, I look at this and, when I talk about the hypocrisy. So let's say this was Joe Biden putting on an event, and let's say that there was some sort of foiled attack. This would be Republicans are dangerous Nazis, and they can't be trusted. But here we are, we're talking about people that are openly anti-Semitic in Congress. And they share these same sentiments of the people that wanted to put a terrorist attack on the White House lawn and the people that were attending an event at the White House. And I know that it's a little bit early in the stage to figure this sort of thing out, but we got to figure this out because this people that align themselves with Israel, people that see that the Jews don't deserve to be killed for the sake of being Jewish. The people that look at this and say that, Palestinians are persecuted so much that we need to go and commit genocide in other parts of the world to show that we align with the Palestinians. This type of mindset that these people are having, and it's all of these different communities, they're seeing these things pop up. We need to really squash this quickly because it is really out of control right now. And if it's going to get to the point where we're seeing in Europe, where this is really taken over, we know it can get a lot worse. So we really got to squash this.
Why do we keep having attacks from the same political side? Why is it that it seems the left tends to turn to violence? And I know I'm harping on that, but I mean, you think about the way that some of these protests have been played out. Like after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, you had people out there at prayer vigils. And then you have something like the BLM situation with, 2020. And what happens? People are being shot. Buildings are being set on fire. Business owners are having their entire life's work destroyed in a matter of minutes who had nothing to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference in the way that the different groups tend to handle when they're upset. The left tends to turn to violence.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they stopped this, but this is just one of many when it comes to the problems we're seeing in the country right now coming from that side. All right, we got to do the short list. Let's do that now.
The Marc Cox Short List, presented by Rhino Shield.
That's the sort of thing they could have access to, funded by the Gulf Coast Coalition, so long as they honor their end of the obligation.
That is Vice President J.D. Vance talking about Iran having access to a reconstruction fund, $300 billion. If that's coming from the U.S., it doesn't sound like it is. It's a coalition of groups. I think that when we see the full structure of what's going on there, we'll get a better idea of how that's going to play out if Iran plays ball, and that's a big if.
It is doubtful that any agreement that arises is going to be significantly different or a significant improvement.
Doubt that. I mean, I guess Obama feels like he was the end-all president and nothing got better than him. I think he's got to realize that there's a lot of faults during his presidency, Iran being one of them. And yes, absolutely, other people can do things better than how he handled it.
But I'm going to tell you how I'm going to celebrate the 250th anniversary. Number one, I am going to, on Thursday, is the opening of the Obama Center in Chicago.
Okay, good luck. Have fun. See ya.
You think people in this room are radical? You should listen to a 75-year-old named Gertrude who's out there and wants to basically criminalize being a Republican.
It's Hassan Piker cheering for the woman, criminalizing a Republican. He could be making that story up. Who knows? But he is that type of guy, that type of radical guy. He's not helping things. He's definitely a free Palestine from the rivers to the sea type of guy, which is, the kind of these mantras of people that are committing these attacks right now.
Yeah, Cori Bush, the former congresswoman, but trying to run again, is running again. She brought Hassan Piker to St. Louis for some event. And then she, like a little coward, she ran away as soon as media was trying to talk to her about everything and why she brought a person like Hassan Piker. Yeah. She didn't want to answer the question. You can't just she tried to disassociate. The one quote I heard was she was trying to more or less disassociate from him and not try to claim like, oh, well, I completely align with him because he is so controversial. I'm sorry, you don't bring someone to a political event, a small political event, if you don't care about his endorsement or at least somewhat align with his beliefs.
Yeah, the money side of it's going to be a big deal too. I mean, the money that's being funneled into him, and he's being investigated for that, and where that money goes after, let it be some of these politicians he's visiting. I think that politicians are leeching onto him for his popularity because that's like the best the left has to offer when it comes to personalities that will endorse their insane rhetoric stuff. Hassan Piker
and Graham Plattner with the Nazi tattoo.
And Graham Plattner, who was running, with the Nazi tattoo. That's what you got going for you right now, because the Democrat Party is broke, and you have this Act Blue and some of these other fundraisers that are being investigated for money laundering, all this stuff that's been passed around. They probably broke some pretty big federal laws. So they don't have much going for them right now. So they're like, you know what? Hassan Piker is my best bet. Let's get this YouTube streamer that hates Israel and, cheers for the death of Jews. Let's kind of bring that guy in, and he's going to be our number one surrogate right now. That's a tough spot to be in if you're a Democrat. All right, last hour I misspoke. We have Todd Piro on this hour. So excited to have him on. Fox and Friends First coming up, and 2A Tuesday with Mark Walters. We'll join him and we'll talk some guns this hour on the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, not a bad traffic morning. It's certainly a gorgeous weather morning. On the roads, we've got some volume, just moderate along northbound 270. This is anywhere from Big Bend up through Ladue Road, and southbound a little slow at Ladue Road as well. Eastbound 70, a great run, and that's from Wright City into downtown. 64, a little slow at Prospect, and westbound has some moderate volume from Clayton Skinker through 170. Now, don't forget 44 is still closed in both directions between the Poplar Street Bridge and the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge. We've got an accident reported on the Illinois side, 64 westbound near the 70 split, and road work westbound 5564 at 3rd Street, causing a delay through there. This report brought to you by Missouri Brush Control. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property, manage vegetation, and clear land for better views. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Visit MissouriBrushControl.com.
Step outside and fall in love with your backyard again. From inviting porch overhangs to durable composite decks and cozy screen rooms, Lakeside Renovation and Design creates stunning outdoor living spaces designed for relaxation, entertaining, and making memories. With expert craftsmanship and top-quality materials, your new outdoor oasis will be perfect for every season. Call Lakeside Renovation and Design today or visit lakesiderd.com to get started. Let's turn your backyard into the retreat you've always dreamed of.
It's Marc Cox. Zero Res wants to help you clean your home. Big summer savings this week only. Get 3 rooms clean for $129. Get the 4th room for free. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and ask for the 97.1 special.
Today, the Cards, the Padres.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The time is 7:20. This time check is sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Marc Cox is St. Louis conservative.
The smartest man alive. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more to life than being really, really good looking.
He's all right, I suppose, if you like dark, handsome, rich-looking men with passionate natures and too many teeth.
Well, young and handsome. He's a real gentleman. You know, not one of these grabbers.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Todd may have the best intro of all of our guests. Todd Piro, host of Fox and Friends First. Todd, how are you?
Yeah, I deserve it because I'm humble. That's why I deserve it.
Todd actually gave us a script, and he just asked if we put it together for him.
Right.
So.
It was a direct line from me to your editing department.
Yep.
Yeah, no kidding. How about this tweet this morning from Kash Patel's that they foiled a terrorist plot this weekend at the America 250 fight?
Yeah, I just did that story twice for Friends, and it's weird when, it's been reported since that Secret Service was involved with it. We got J.D. Vance coming on the show in any minute, and Secret Service has been all over this building for the last, 12, 24 hours. And so I was like, you guys knew about this? As I'm rushing to go do the hit. And they just gave me like a wink and a nod. So, but anyway, yeah, this is scary crap. Let's not make light of it. This is terrifying. We obviously want to find out the names of the people involved because oftentimes the names may or may not give sort of key biographical information. But beyond the names, we want to dig deep into these people's background. Why did they do this? And what was their level of sophistication in getting caught, because you worry that there could be a time where there's going to be a crew that doesn't get caught. And that's absolutely terrifying. And of course, the goal is always to, inflict terror, get us to not do these things, because this is capitalism. And if you read the article, these people were anti-capitalist. They didn't like the capitalist society, and but capitalism is what makes this country great and what allows us to have big events like this. So frightening stuff.
And these types of events are so cool. I only watched clips of the UFC fight at the White House, but it looked really neat. But man, the security, I don't know if you know anyone who went, Todd, in person, but I can only imagine how tight security was given how many attempts there have been on Donald Trump's life.
Yeah, but that was the thing. Like, they were going to create so much chaos that, it wasn't the White House where they were going to strike. They were going to strike the buildings around, create chaos, pick people off with sniper fire. And then with all the surrounding, insanity, they would then have a second team to go storm the White House with, people distracted. So, but terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
The chaos seems to work because if you look at the last couple of threats, we had the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and you had a guy that just basically tried to speed run into the ballroom, and it caught the guards off guard. Essentially, they're like, "What?" The flash came through. Luckily, they stopped him. And then you think about other times where the president's been taken away, and it seems like there's a little bit of confusion and chaos before they kind of get their bearings and get the president out. It's unfortunate that we've seen so many examples of this happening. I wonder, too, when they say there's a certain cause of why they're doing this, And we've seen so many of these anti-Israel causes, these pro-Palestine groups coming forward and trying to commit things very similar to this in other states. We got to realize very quickly our European friends over there are dealing with this, and it's gotten so far out of control. We got to squash this because we can't keep having this happen to our president.
So the question is how? And, you know, the FBI has their tactics that they utilize. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the overall, what inspires people to do this. And so what is that balance of, you know, making sure we Americans can live our lives loud and proud and in all our, you know, some people say obnoxiousness. I say America. But, you know, how do we do that? How do we live our rights as Americans to be the way we are, to celebrate the way we celebrate, to party the way we party, to earn a living the way we earn a living, and not have people attack us for it, both external and, of course, internal? That's the question. And, you know, I always go to the schools. You know, you can't have things where people who are successful are the bad guys in cartoons and schools. It seems trite, but this all adds up to something. And, you know, and we get to situations like we have today. Also, to your point, close the freaking borders. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to come to this country, go through the long, protracted thing that all of our ancestors did, because that is how you become American, not by waltzing over during the Biden administration.
You know, Ryan brought up the White House Correspondents' Dinner back in April with that shooting, and I saw that they rescheduled it for July 24th. Are you going? What's the general sentiment among members of the press? Are they interested in attending that?
I have not been asked to return. I wonder if it's going to be a tiny footprint, but honestly, for a plethora of reasons, I don't want to. Like, it's okay when it's in April. This is really more of a scheduling thing than a national security thing for me. I don't do anything on weekends in the summer. We get 2 months of enjoyment in the Northeast. I take those 2 months and I enjoy my time in the Northeast. I'm not going down to D.C. on a Friday, ruining my Saturday because I'm not going to have to fly. No, I'm not doing that. I did it once in April. If we do this thing again in April next year, I'll go down. But no, you don't mess with somebody's weekend summers who grew up in Jersey. You just don't do it.
But you think there's fear? You think that there's fear from people who went, who would say, I'm not even trying to. I mean, I know security will be tighter, I'm sure. But do you think that there's this general sentiment of people saying, that's just, I have trauma or whatever, I'm not doing that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, that's the real answer you're looking for, not my Jersey.
No, I loved your answer, Todd.
Here.
It was great.
No, but maybe, I certainly thought about it. I will say this. My wife and I have determined, like, last year she went, we're not going together again. We're going to divide and conquer. God forbid something happens, which is unfortunate because, I get invited to a lot of cool things that I'd like to take my wife to. When I, strut around, everybody brings their wives and stuff, but this is an important decision that we have made as a couple. And there are more important things than, hanging out in a ball gown. You know what I mean? So,
get it.
But we got to do what you got to do. We got kids, without kids, maybe it's different.
I don't know. I'm 100% with you. I have a certain allotment of inconvenience in my life. And then when someone asks me to go above and beyond that inconvenience, especially when I'm looking forward to having maybe my weekends to myself, it's a hard no for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy. I could say that. Listen, this is my time. My inconvenience meter is running high right now. I need to lower that thing before I go and add anything else.
Can I leave? I know you got to go. Can I leave you with this? I made a decision on the inconvenience meter to benefit you. And I was going to potentially cancel on the Marc Cox morning show so that I could talk to JD Vance. But it's insanity down there. I don't want anything. It's too inconvenient for me. So I said, you know what? I'm going to fulfill my obligations, my unpaid obligations to the Marc Cox morning show.
You do it.
Even with the fill-in host. And I did it. And there you go. I deserve the intro that you played. I'm even better than that intro.
Oh gosh, Todd.
Todd Piro, host of Fox and Friends First. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Todd's the best. He's so good. He is absolutely the best. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Corey from Air Comfort Service. Why are you standing next to my AC?
I'm standing behind our work.
But it's 8 p.m. You're just going to stand behind my air conditioner?
Yeah, pretty much.
Could you turn off the sprinkler then?
Absolutely. At Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, we take pride in our work. If you need a new air conditioner or HVAC system, you can trust we'll install the equipment correctly. Plus, for a limited time, qualify for rebates up to $2,600 and 0% financing for up to 72 months. For a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA. So we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't hate, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got some volume along northbound 270. Not a surprise at this hour, but it's approaching 44 up through Ladue Road. In fact, southbound 270, some moderate volume at Ladue Road as well. Eastbound Highway 30 is pretty slow, headed for 270 this morning. So is northbound 141. Now, eastbound 64 looks pretty good from out west, but it does start to slow around 170, with westbound slowing near Hampton out through Hanley. 70 eastbound in good shape. 44 remains closed between the Poplar Street Bridge and the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge. And we've got road work on the Illinois side, westbound 5564 near 3rd Street, and that is causing delays. This report brought to you by McKelvey Homes. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
McKelvey Homes is breaking ground on something new in O'Fallon, Strawberry Farms. When McKelvey builds something, they do it right. Visit McKelvey Homes to schedule a tour at Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today and move up to McKelvey.
I love one-stop shopping. It simplifies life, doesn't it? And that's kind of what you're getting these days at Grasser, because for the past 50 years or so, Grasser has done one thing, and they've done it exceptionally well, and that is deal with the electrical issues in your home or your business. Of course, they do residential and commercial work. And now they've expanded that vision, and they can handle plumbing. Now they've got certified plumbers, licensed plumbers on the staff. No matter what's going on at your house, if you got a drip, if you got a clogged drain, they can get over there. They'll get it taken care of. And just like on the electrical side, they don't have jobs that are too big or too small. They handle all of it, right? They'll get in, they'll give you a quote for your job, and they'll get the job taken care of. Plus, when you reach out to them, it is 24 hours a day. So whenever you call over there, you're going to get somebody to call you back, and they'll get your emergency handled. Check them out online. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. It's grasserelectric.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
If you've been thinking about refinancing, don't let the cost of an appraisal hold you back. This is James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. For a limited time, Golden Oak is offering a credit of up to $600 towards your appraisal at closing. Call today for a free mortgage checkup and see if you could lower your payment, pay off high-interest credit card debt, or put your home's equity to work. But apply by July 31st.
Golden Oak Landing, showing my blue.
NMLS 114937.
This is Michael McGreevy. Escape to Margaritaville night at Busch Stadium on Friday, June 26th. Celebrate the legacy of Jimmy Buffett with a special pregame performance by the Boat Drunks. With a special theme ticket, you'll receive a Margaritaville-inspired Cardinals cap. Plus, a portion of each ticket benefits Singing for Change. Kick back, relax, and enjoy a night where it's 5 o'clock somewhere, even at 7:15 first pitch. Details and tickets at cardinals.com/theme.
This is Jordan Walker. Celebrate Black Heritage Day, presented by your quality Ford dealers on Sunday, June 28th at Busch Stadium. This special culture and community event honors the impact, history, and legacy of the Black community in baseball and beyond. With a special themed ticket, you'll receive an exclusive Cardinals jersey designed by Corey Rogers. And don't miss a special heritage celebration in Budweiser Terrace before the game. Details and tickets at cardinals.com/theme.
Celebrating 250 years of freedom and 25 years of 97.1 FM Talk in St. Louis.
If you ban them in the future, the bullets will have been shot and there won't be any more available.
So you don't shoot deer with a bullet that size. If you do, you could cook it at the same time.
Put that double barrel shotgun and fire 2 blasts outside the house.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Joining us now is the host of Armed American Radio in the Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, Mark Walters. How are you, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, Kim. And good morning, St. Louis. Ryan, you're in good hands between Kim and I today. We got you. You're covered.
I said we were talking on the phone. I said we have to keep Mark in check, Mark Cox in check every time. So we've got this.
It's a 2-way Tuesday. I mean, there's always something to talk about when it comes to guns. Maybe you can explain something to me. And I'm a casual sports fan. I don't really pay close attention to it. But what's going on with Cleveland Cavaliers, James Harden getting arrested in Texas? I know it's a gun-related thing. What is that? Do you know?
Yeah. I'm so glad you brought this up. But first, I got to tell you, you guys got that rejoin coming in, celebrating 250 years of America. You need to put the word conservatives are celebrating 250 years of Americans, because let's be serious. Anyway, the James Harden thing, unbelievable story. So get this, guys, and St. Louis, pay careful attention to this because it matters. This is a red state. Everybody knows that everybody carries guns in Texas. Don't believe me? Watch Landman if that's what you have to do, okay? Everybody carries guns in Texas. It's widely known. James Harden, not a prohibited person. James Harden, a very well-known individual if you're a basketball fan. James Harden does not require a permit to carry a gun in Texas. James Harden can constitutionally carry his gun in Texas because the Constitution is the permit in Texas. James Harden can carry a gun lawfully in his vehicle in Texas, concealed or open or on his person. James Harden was arrested for unlawfully carrying a gun in Texas, which was openly carried on the seat of his car. How could that possibly be? Under what circumstance? Well, as it turns out, Texas has a law that says, well, if you're going to carry the gun in the car and it's going to be partially or wholly visible, it has to be in a holster.
Okay.
James Harden is now facing a misdemeanor, Class A misdemeanor in Texas, punishable by 364 days, a $4,000 fine. And as of right now, because of his $100 bond, James Harden is on the tail end of an $88 million contract right now, I might add.
So
his $100 bond could be revoked if he doesn't stay away from firearms, drugs, alcohol, and subject to urine tests, because his lawfully owned, possessed, and carried gun in Texas in the car wasn't in a holster. You've got to be kidding me. Fix it, Texas. And cops have discretion. This should never have happened.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what's so weird about it. Some stupid technicality like that. And I wonder how many other states also have something like that in place and it's just not widely known. How dumb is that?
Well, Kim, it is dumb. And here's the thing. 20 years of doing this, I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
This shocked me when I found out what was going on with this, because he wasn't charged with anything else. There was no other charge whatsoever.
When I see
don't
that
know.
it was 3:40 a.m., obviously the first thing I thought of was, is this the lesser of a different charge? There could have been other things. It doesn't sound like it was, though.
No, they said that he was pulled over for a traffic violation. Okay, do we really want to go down these holes? I'll tell you what this looks like to me. Black guy driving a probably pretty nice car on an $88 million contract at 4 o'clock in the morning in Houston.
So
because I didn't see any other charge.
Well,
now, people are talking about that. Is that a possibility? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know the cop. But what I do know is that the officer does have discretion. Here's how this should have gone down. Mr. Harden, we understand you were born and raised in L.A. We understand you play for Cleveland. We know you don't live in Texas, as far as I know anyway. And just to let you know, under Texas law, if you're going to carry that gun, and we hope you do, because everybody carries guns in Texas, it needs to be in a holster. Because lots of people carry their guns unholstered in a console or a glove box.
Yeah.
That's what should have gone down here, guys. But the bigger picture is this. We are talking about Texas, a very gun-friendly state. And the bigger point here is, ladies and gentlemen, that I don't care. It's not just blue states that will do these things to you. This is why we have to continue this fight in the reddest of red states. It never stops.
I got to see if I don't think there's been any body cam footage from the officer. I wonder, because here's the thing that goes through my mind. Was he being a jerk about it? And the officer's like, fine, if you really want to go down this route, then you should be in a holster. There's got to be some other circumstance that's going on here, being that it is in Texas. Okay, that's an interesting one. And I know we only have so much time. I want to talk about the Supreme Court declining to hear the New York law challenge. Maybe you can explain this one to me, too, because there was a challenge in New York that was brought up against. And New York has some of the most stringent gun laws. It's ridiculous and stupid how bad it is in New York State. But the Supreme Court was asked to look at a challenge from the gun industry, and they declined to look at that. Can you explain?
Here's the short answer. No. And I wish I could. Because when the Supreme Court refuses to take certain cases that we feel that they should be taking, when there's clear circuit splits, et cetera, the assault weapons ban, Ryan, is a great one to analogize here, because Virginia doesn't have to be in the problem they're in. Illinois doesn't have to be in the situation they're in. California, any other blue state. If the Supreme Court would do their jobs and take one of these cases, we're 4 years removed from Bruin. Okay, these should have been. The problem is when these cases come out of conference, we never know why the Supreme Court refuses to take a case, because they don't tell us when they come out of conference. What seems like a no-brainer to us and the rest of the country, both sides of the argument need precedent set. And the court declines the case. Unfortunately, we never know. It's maddeningly frustrating. I'll hand you that. It's maddeningly frustrating.
Mark, I have to get your reaction to this whole UFC situation, because they've come out, the FBI supposedly arrested 5 people in connection with this planned drone attack. They were going to basically attack the surrounding buildings and create chaos and then just start shooting people. And thank goodness they arrested them. But this whole situation's crazy. And how many attempts there are, people trying to kill Trump, or in this case, try to kill billionaires or capitalists or anyone who would support Israel, is what I've been seeing in the documents.
I'm going to make this one really personal. I have a relative, I was talking about this on the air yesterday, in fact, and likely will, who got into an internet Instagram tiff with my son. And these two should be close, but they're not, because of Trump, because of politics, because my relative is so filled with rage and hate over Donald Trump that my family and my kids will likely not know her currently unborn child as a result of this, because of her, not because of us. That's the situation we're in this country right now. And I'm with you on this, Kim. I pray for Donald Trump's well-being every single day. My family does. And I know millions of others do as well. But this is where we are in America today. Hatred is deep. There's no fix to it as far as I don't see any light at the end of this tunnel. Donald Trump and the Secret Service and the Capitol Police, everybody surrounding him, private security, has to be very, very careful here. I fear for this. And sadly, there are people out there who feel like my relative that would quietly in their own heads, and many wouldn't do it quietly. They would come out and publicly say, good. That's how bad this is. This is a very pathetic situation. What's her name? McBride and the rest of these clowns can't even show up to sing and perform at a concert that celebrates America's 250 years, which, by the way, idiot celebrities, also includes Democrat politicians in those 250 years. What's wrong with these people?
Yeah. These attacks and things that they were discussing this morning, the foiled attack, and they were talking about snipers and trying to shoot people escaping and things like that. It's just, I'm glad the FBI is able to at least catch some wind and stop these things from preemptively happening. For the sake of time, by the way, if people wanted to look you up online, your show and some of the things you're doing, where can they go?
Yeah, armedamericanradio.com, on air 5 days a week, Monday through Friday from 3 to 4 Central and Sundays from 7 to 10 Central. And please visit my YouTube channel. We've got great videos coming out every day. YouTube at Armed American Radio. Lots of fun over there. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, and I see you, it seems like every other day in the radio trades. All the time you're in there, which is fantastic. I think that's really good. It's good placement for at least people in our industry. We get to get a quick link to your shows on there. Armed American Radio, AAR, Armed American Radio, at AAR Mark. You can look them up on there. 2A Tuesdays with Mark Walters. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Kim. Good morning, St. Louis. Have a great day. Stay safe.
See ya.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. Kim on a whim coming up after the break on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads this morning, we have had a couple of issues, but for the most part, we look good. It's just volume. So northbound 270, moderate volume in pockets, but it stretches from 21 through Ladue Road. Southbound a little slow at Ladue Road. Some moderate volume southbound 170, headed for 64. Southbound 61, some volume out west, ramping on to eastbound 64. 70 isn't bad into downtown. 64 has slow pockets between Lindbergh and Big Bend, with westbound lining up approaching Hampton through Hanley. On the Illinois side, road work causing delays westbound 55-64 at 3rd Street. And don't forget, we've got 44 closed in both directions between the Poplar Street Bridge and the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge due to that giant sinkhole on North Broadway. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, St. Louis, this is Brian Kilmeade. You know, I always have a great time when I visit you guys, and I'm coming back this November. So join me, Brian Kilmeade, by getting tickets for the show at the factory at 971talk.com/events.
Well, I am a hero in my house because we had an event coming up. We needed to update our landscaping, and I hired the guys at Lawn Enforcement to get it done. Brandon came out. He gave me some great ideas. He got it done. He got it mulched, and just in time for the party we had in our backyard. It was a big success. Lots of compliments. You're going to love the work they do. Listen, they've been at this for 30 years. They can take care of the mowing. They can take care of the fertilization. All of that is about bringing your yard up to what it needs to look like, right? And then on top of that, they can help you lay out landscaping to accent your house, to increase that curb appeal, to make it more beautiful. If you need retaining walls or erosion control, they can do all of it. And don't think of any project being too small to bother with. Let Lawn Enforcement come out and upgrade your yard. Take it from good to great like they did with mine. Go online today to yourlawnenforcement.com.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
A common question I receive is, how is the market right now? It just seems so volatile. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. If you want to buy or sell but feel overwhelmed by the whiplash of the market, then let's talk. With over 23 years as a broker, I have the exact experience you need to help you navigate this tricky market. Call me at 314-441-4444. 314-441-ALL-4s. And remember, why pay more than two?
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. Kim on a whim.
Well, Donald Trump is in France right now for the G7 summit. Gavin Newsom, our pal in California, is posting about how he has joined Donald Trump's hit list. And he posted this video, the whole video in and of itself. It's about 5 minutes. I will spare you from playing all of it, but I want to let you hear part of this.
In recent days, federal agents have knocked on the doors of family, friends, and former employees. Not because they found a crime, because they're simply trying to find one. They're demanding records. They're abusing the grand jury process, digging through years and years of random documents. Donald Trump isn't just coming after me because of my mean tweets. He's coming after me because I'm considering running for president, because he hates that I've consistently called him out over and over again for his lies and deceit.
Okay, so yeah, you probably are running for president, Gavin Newsom, but I don't think you really stand a chance. And when you look into what's actually going on, supposedly they've been investigating him and his wife for years because she has this organization or whatever, her company, Girls Club LLC. And supposedly she has pocketed more than $3 million of income from her charity. The charity is called the Representation Project. And then the company I mentioned is Girls Club LLC. And this has been going on for a decade or so. This is not some new investigation. So maybe the new part of it is that they've begun, assuming this is all true, knocking on doors and trying to talk to coworkers or friends, family of Gavin Newsom and his wife.
No, they got something. I mean, they got something on him. And when the investigation reached this point, he knows there's some serious stuff coming down. So the best defense is to say that it's a political witch hunt. But man, I'm telling you, they don't knock on doors unless they got something. There's no chance of it.
Well, and so if there's the investigation into her pocketing money from her organization, some $3 million of it, well, that would be a problem, clearly, and worth investigating. But then you have the whole situation of fraud in the state of California. And I feel like it would be comparable maybe to what's going on with Minnesota when we're looking at Walz and Ellison and asking the question, how much did they know and when did they know it? Were they turning a blind eye? Were they encouraging staffers there in the state to grant these predominantly Somali businesses license, and they were completely ripping off taxpayers and committing fraud? Was the same thing going on in California, where you had all of these fraudulent companies that were starting up in a tiny little 1-block area. You'd have, what was it, like 15 or so of the same type of company. How much of that did Gavin Newsom know about? Did his staff know about that? He was trying to say, hey, shh, don't worry about that. So there's a lot that could be looked at when it comes to Gavin Newsom and his wife, apparently.
Yeah. You really can't call it Somali businesses because they didn't offer any services. They were scams.
Yeah.
They were fraudulently scamming money from the U.S. government. That to call it a business would assume there was something legitimate with them. But they were just a name on a piece of paper, which they then returned to the state to collect money without rendering any of those services.
Right.
Over and over and over again. So this is clearly, there's some issues there. I don't know how much of that money would have been funneled back. We saw in Minnesota, sometimes the money did get funneled back. Tim Walz and people around him, politicians that were friendly to that sort of thing, turning the blind eye. In California, I don't know how much of that would implicate Gavin Newsom, but the wife, that's very interesting about her charity there.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever there's a charity and you have someone benefiting from a charity and no one knows anything that they do, and the head of the charity gets, what you said, $3 million?
Mm-hmm.
From the charity, that's a red flag immediately that needs to be looked at.
Well, and maybe there were kickbacks with this fraud, but I don't even know that would be the bigger concern. I mean, that's a concern, but I think it would be more so, hey, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of thing, where it's like, hey, we're going to, as long as, I turn a blind eye to this, you're going to make sure that the people I need remain in power. You're going to vote for me. So even though Gavin Newsom wasn't up, for re-election at the time, maybe there were some other people who he needed to have remain in office. And this was his way of basically ensuring that would be the case. Because I think I think Tim Walz and Ellison, they would have needed a lot of those people in Minnesota, for example, in order to remain in office. I mean, Minnesota, I know is liberal, but in general, you have a number of people who would have needed to, keep that lunatic in office. I shouldn't say lunatic.
Yeah.
He is kind of a lunatic. He acts like a lunatic. I'll put it that way.
Tim Walz, you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. I try not to just name call everybody because I do get kind of irritated that everyone just wants to name call everybody. And I try not to just get too comfortable with that. But man, some of these people, it's maddening seeing what they're doing and then hearing them go out there and try to deny that. And it's irritating because it's almost pretending like we're idiots. It's making us feel like it's like I have two eyes. I can see it. How can you? It's like it looks like a chicken. It sounds like a chicken, but you're telling me it's an elephant.
Yeah, I think in a way of mocking some of these politicians. So, talking to Tim Walz, what do you think of Tampon Tim as a nickname for him? Did you like that? Did you not like that? Did you think that crossed the line? So the idea is that he advocated successfully to put tampons in the men's restroom because he said men can also need them or something like that.
Yeah, he said, well,
because
it'd be if there are women who say they're men, then they're technically men, and therefore men can menstruate, according to him. So that's why you would have a need for tampons and pads in the men's restroom, because the women who are pretending to be men should be able to go into the men's restroom.
And you look at the line on the budget and how much money they were spending on stuff like this that obviously were being wasted, used for whatever purposes, being thrown at each other, goofing around, whatever the purpose that would have been, totally wasted. So he gets coined that nickname. What about nicknames like that? Is that
Nancy? I've probably used it. I'll guarantee you I've said Tampon Tim. That is effective because it connected like what he advocated for with his name.
Mm-hmm.
So when people think Tim Walz, they think tampons. That's the guy who wants tampons in the men's bathroom. And you tend to do that when you're running a campaign.
Stupid.
Like Trump is the king of that, where he attaches some adjective to to his opponent's name. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know where the line is, to be honest. I do see some harsh words from both sides. And I know I will be the first one to say I've had some harsh words. I get it. But I do try to not stoop too low, I guess is the way I can phrase it. It's hard. It's a hard line to walk.
Well, obviously it was everyone's a Nazi or everyone's this, that if I disagree with them, they're a racist.
Right.
That was kind of what they were working towards. That I would say that in comparison, Tampon Tim's pretty tame compared to calling someone a Hitler over and over and over again.
I'll call him
I'd
call him Tampon Tim over and over again before you call someone Hitler.
Yeah, which they did over and over and over again. Maybe calling Donald Trump Hitler with all these assassination attempts was, maybe you can see why that's a problem. All right, you're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I hope you're having a good time. If you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble, our Window World webcam is up. Simply the best for less.
Have you heard of the term peering before? It's a matter of them shoring up the foundation of your home. My friends at Home Shield Foundation Repair can do anything associated with the foundation of your house. And sometimes, because of this crazy soil that we have around here, your foundation can shift. You may notice a stair stepping in the mortar on your bricks. You may notice cracks in your drywall. Some of that's normal. Other times it's an indication of a bigger problem. Matt Hayes tells me they can go in with their machinery. They can install peering down in the ground by the base of your foundation that stops that movement. And it's permanent, right? You don't have to worry about it anymore. Just one of the many things they can do, including waterproofing your basement. Call them today at 314-271-9900. Let Matt come over, or one of his trusted employees, and they'll give you a lifetime warranty on their work. Online at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com. Marc Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisor Group, to learn how to create your worry-free retirement. We'll meet June 16th at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield at 6:30. Here are Bob and Tammy with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering how to turn your 401k and IRA into a worry-free retirement? Would you like to learn the strategies that give you market growth but protects you from market losses at the same time?
Would you like to get a free personalized retirement income plan
And did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to create a worry-free retirement. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Have a worry-free retirement. Join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield, Tuesday, June 16th at 6:30. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
How's business?
Good. Are you up to speed with the new beneficial ownership reporting requirements?
Sort of. What's it about?
It's a new initiative to help fight crimes like money laundering, fraud, and drug trafficking. A lot of small businesses like ours just have to report some basic info to the federal government about the real people behind them.
Reporting your company's beneficial ownership information is quick, secure, and free, and it helps protect U.S. national security. Learn more at fincen.gov/BOI.
Please be advised, you may want to stop eating the following foods immediately: broccoli, kale, blueberries, quinoa, spinach.
I thought those were good for me.
What's healthy for one person may cause inflammation for another. So how do you know what your body actually needs? That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple at-home gut health test that analyzes your real-time biology to give you personalized nutrition guidance and custom supplements. Learn more at Viome.com/gut. V as in Victor, IOME.com/GUT. And use coupon code GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Plotted an attack, but the FBI thwarted it. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The target, the UFC Freedom 250 event Sunday night on the White House lawn, and Vice President Vance was there.
I actually just heard about it this morning myself, and so this is a very, very dark stuff.
And Vance just told Fox.
I hate to say this, but it's true. You see more political violence and violent rhetoric coming from the left than the right these days. Everybody has a role to cut this stuff out.
5 people are in custody in the plot targeting the UFC event the FBI disrupted.
Other suspects allegedly traveled to Fredericksburg, Virginia to make final preparations for a multi-stage attack. A review of one suspect's iPhone showed at least 23 Signal users had been a part of the planning process.
That's Fox's Todd Piro. Back to the vice president. He's planning to be in Geneva Friday to formalize the deal with Iran that fully opens the Strait of Hormuz for shipping while nuclear negotiations continue.
No matter what happens, Iran's nuclear program has been destroyed. They have no enrichment capacity.
President Trump's also talking about the Iran deal at the G7 summit in France. He just said,
I'll probably have a press conference and read it to you word by word, so that the press covers it accurately.
Insisting it's a far better deal with no money for Iran, unlike the 2015 Obama-era nuclear agreement that he pulled the U.S. out of in the first Trump administration.
That was a road to a nuclear weapon. Mine is a wall against a nuclear weapon.
It is primary day or runoff day in 3 states.
In the Alabama Senate primary runoff, President Trump has backed Congressman Barry Moore over retired Navy SEAL Jared Hudson. In the Georgia runoff, President Trump's backed Congressman Mike Collins to challenge Senator John Ossoff in November, while outgoing Governor Brian Kemp has backed former University of Tennessee football coach Derek Dooley.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. There are also primaries for an open Senate seat in Oklahoma and a race for mayor in Washington, D.C. and in California, a contest to fill a House seat vacated when Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell resigned. America's listening to Fox News.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250 micro to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh, no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Welcome into Tuesday. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. 61 degrees now at 8:03. Here's what's making headlines on June 16th. Work to repair a massive sinkhole downtown could now take weeks, St. Louis officials say. Their goal, though, is to reopen Interstate 44 by the end of this week. Of course, as you might expect, closures near the sinkhole itself on Biddle would remain in place. That sinkhole, which is about 35 feet wide and 10 feet deep, has sort of become this unexpected attraction as people stopped by Monday just to see it in person. A new splash pad in St. Charles County has been forced to close just 2 days after opening following multiple reports of children getting injured. Some of the incidents at Kinetic Park involved children slipping and falling, hitting their head on rocks. The Parks and Recreation Department says that splash pad was evaluated, tested, and deemed safe before opening. So the splash pad will remain closed while the county reassesses the surface. It's not clear when it will reopen. A lawsuit challenging the Missouri law that returned control of the St. Louis Police Department to the state has been tossed out by a judge. St. Louis Board of Aldermen President Megan Green filed the lawsuit, claiming the law is unconstitutional. Cole County Judge Daniel Green ruled in favor of the state, and Attorney General Catherine Hanaway finding it does not, in fact, violate Missouri's constitution. In sports, Dustin May with the one-hit shutout for the Cardinals against the Padres yesterday. Final score was 3-0. Game 2 tonight, Busch Stadium, first pitch 6:45. And for any soccer fans, Team USA's next match will be Friday against Australia. They're coming off of that 4-1 win against Paraguay. 61 degrees now. It is 8:04. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, northbound 270 still has some volume. Now, mostly it's moderate, but it stretches anywhere from Gravois up through Ladue Road. Some moderate volume southbound headed for Olive. Eastbound 70 slowing, mainly out at Highway A, and some volume southbound 61, just moderate, headed for 64. But on the Illinois side, we've got road work westbound 5564 near 3rd Street, and that's causing a delay, especially back onto 64 westbound. And, of course, 44 on the Missouri side, closed between the Poplar Street Bridge and the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge for the week, if not longer, because of the sinkhole that opened up on North Broadway over the weekend. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
It's a very nice morning once again around town, but we will be a little bit warmer later on today. The southerly flow coming back, partly sunny skies, a little windy, maybe a spot thunderstorm, but quite limited. 83 should do it for the high. So it's warmer, but it's not extreme. Then tonight, partly cloudy, 63. Wednesday, partly sunny, a windy day with some scattered showers and thunderstorms, but limited Wednesday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist, Dave Murray.
Dry and overcast right now downtown at 61 degrees. Our time is 8:06. You can take the Marc Cox Morning Show with you wherever you go. Listen to the show anywhere on our free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
And welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Marc Cox. Happy to be with you. Kim, how are you?
Lovely.
Did you see Disclosure Day at all?
No.
Do you have any interest in?
So I was talking about it actually for a Kim on a Whim because, well, first of all, it takes place in Kansas City, Missouri, I believe, or at least part of it does. And they were, of course, it's about aliens, and they're trying to say, Steven Spielberg was trying to say it would rock someone's faith when they watched it.
Yeah. It does not. The spoiler alert.
So you saw it, and it was not that great?
I did. I saw it this weekend, and I was really hyped up because, aliens, Spielberg. Oh, this is going to be good. It's a summer blockbuster movie. I was all excited. I thought it was going to be great. And there's a broadcast component to it where they broadcast the disclosure. They show this in the previews. That's a big deal. And, they have good actors, and the actors were gave great performances throughout the movie. But I was sitting there with my wife, and I kept looking over to her and I would give her that look like, I can't believe it's this lame. Like it was just okay. I thought it was going to be great, and it ended up being average at best.
Really?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a bummer. You know, Emily Blunt, I love her as an actress, and she plays the main woman, I guess, the meteorologist.
Yep, she
And
was fantastic.
She worked with Steven Spielberg to come up with the alien language. I was listening to some interview she did, and she said that she would just send him long audio clips making different weird sounds, and they basically pieced together 5 or so different sounds that she had sent him. And that was how they came up with the alien language. But she also had to learn Korean, and not obviously the entire language, but she had to be able to say certain words in different languages, which is cool.
Yep, Russian. She spoke a couple of different languages, and she was very fluent. It sounded like she was. So whoever her dialect coach was, they did a great job with it. So I was watching the movie, and there's a thing that my wife and I will do. And I don't know if this is the same with you and your husband, but you have young ones.
Yep.
Listen, when you got time at night and they're asleep, you're saying, please stay asleep. Don't wake up. Give us a little bit of free time where you don't have to worry about anything. This would be great. So my wife and I have this thing where if, let's say, the kids are in bed and they're older, we don't have to worry about it. You know, yours are young. But when they go to bed, we only have a couple of hours before we're like, this is all I can do. Like, I'm exhausted. And if we start a movie and we're maybe 3/4 of the way through the movie, halfway through the movie, we'll look at each other and we'll say, should we finish this tomorrow? Because it's getting late. And if it's a good movie, we'll say, no, we're just going to finish it now. If it's an average or bad movie, we'll say, we'll finish this later. This would have been a finish later type of movie. And that's how we judge movies now. If it's let's finish it later or let's keep watching.
Man, I have no problem with going to bed and saying, let's just finish this tomorrow. But I hope my husband's listening right now. He is not like that at all. He really feels called to finish a movie, finish a show. And so I'll go to bed and then I'll wake up the next morning and I'm like, did you watch the rest of the movie without me? Yeah.
Oh no, you can't do that.
You know, but I'm not. Sometimes I like a show because then I don't have to commit 2 or whatever it is hours of my time. I'm so tired because I wake up at 3 or whatever in the morning, especially on the weekends. I'm out early, you know, like I'm clocking out. So it's hard for me to stay up. Yeah.
At night, I'm tired. And sometimes we can't find something to watch. So she'll watch something. She's watching this stupid horse drama from Canada. And there's like 19 seasons of this.
Wait, what do you mean
I don't know what
drama? It's a show about horses?
They're farmers and there's horses. And it's really lame. But she's so into it. I'm sure there's people listening right now that know exactly what it is, but it's like multiple families and it's in Canada and there's some jerks and there's horses and it's like a Canadian drama and it is just, she loves it for whatever reason.
Isn't half the battle of agreeing to watch something? Like sometimes you argue or you go back and forth so much on what to watch that you spend 30 minutes and then you're like, I'm too tired to even watch anything because you can't agree on what to watch.
Right. And the whole show is like they're just starting conflicts for the sake of starting it. And none of it means anything. And it is so lame. And she loves it. And I look at my phone for an hour.
Is it called Heartland?
And then we go to bed. I think it's Heartland.
Yeah,
Lisa
said
exactly.
That. Mm-hmm.
Do you know that one?
No. Lisa on Facebook said it. I bet it's Heartland. I've heard of that, but I've never seen it.
There's 19 seasons. Not one man has ever watched an episode and enjoyed it. It's not even a chance of that from happening. If anything, their wives are watching it or their girlfriends or whatever, and they're sitting back and the guy's like, you know what? I would rather look out the window and hope a squirrel runs by before I would stare at this screen for an hour.
You know, I guess it's popular. I don't know if Lisa watches it. My friend Peggy also just messaged me the same thing. I don't know if she watches it. She's texting me right now, but I guess it's a popular show. So maybe it's worth your time, Ryan.
No, I guarantee there's not one man in all of America that watches this show and enjoys it.
It's the husbands who are agreeing to watch it with their wives.
100%. So that's the type of stuff we do when we can't agree on things. So I better come prepared. Honey, I know what we're watching, and I got to come with something good because otherwise Heartland's coming on. One of episode whatever from season whatever. And that's what I'm trying to avoid from here on out, like we did last night, Heartland. Ugh. And this is what happens, too. When I know I have to wake up early, like for this show, I'll say, put on something boring so I can get sleepy. And she puts on Heartland. It
and
works
you're
like
out.
a charm. Yep. All right, let's do the short list.
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
Well, there's a difference between expanding the court gradually and what these Democrats are talking about, which is packing the court, adding 4 liberal justices to flip the result of cases.
And it's back to that talk, which is, hey, what the Democrats have to run on is, if we can get control again, we can pack the Supreme Court. So I think you're going to find this argument becoming more popular in recent months, or in upcoming months, rather.
Scott Pelley fired from CBS by the clack of far-right ideologues who bought it and handed it over to a zealot named Bari Weiss.
Isn't that great that CBS is looked at as right-wing propaganda? How does that happen? But Scott Pelley had his own flaws. I think much like Jim Acosta and some of these others, they became so political that their biases became so obvious that it was impossible to look at them as unbiased. And, well, when you're going through some major changes and you want to be less biased than people like Scott Pelley, it's hard to find a way to fit them in.
The government has decided to ban social media access for children under 16. It's a big step for our country.
Those kids under 16 banned from social media also means adults have to prove they are over the age of 16, which means government registries. And that brings all kinds of other problems, like what the UK is about to find out.
I want to be clear. This is not just some fluke. It is a feature of a rigged economy.
That was Elizabeth Warren. And wasn't this one of the motives for the terrorist plot at the UFC event at the White House? It was like trillionaires and billionaires and rigged economies and all that. It seems very similar to what some of these people were saying that tried to commit a terrorist attack just over the weekend at the White House. So Elizabeth Warren, bad timing to start coming out with this sort of thing, because they may be listening to people like you. Coming up after the break, Jeff Monosso, Fox News Radio. There's a controversial Illinois law that a lot of people are talking about when it comes to terminally ill patients. We'll talk to Jeff about that on the Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads this morning, there is some volume that remains on northbound 270. It's just in pockets approaching 44 up through Ladue Road, and it's mainly moderate. Southbound a little slow at Ladue Road as well. If you are eastbound on 64, first of all, it's a little slow there. Southbound 61 getting to 64. But most of the volume is actually east of Lindbergh through Big Bend, with westbound slowing at Hampton in pockets out through 270. And on the Illinois side, this road work, westbound 5564 3rd Street is causing delays. And 44, of course, remains closed between the Poplar Street Bridge and the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge. Yeah, it's just going to be that way for the week. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
All right, Zero Res is having a flash sale right now, lasting just this week. 3 rooms of carpet for $129. The 4th room is free. So you're basically getting 4 rooms of carpeting done for $129. And maybe it's not just your carpeting, because they can Zero Res just about anything in your house. Ask them about this when they get there or when you call. Here's their phone number, 314-474-2020. Tell them you want that 97.1 special, the flash sale, and tell them what you got going on. Like, do you have a bunch of area rugs? They can do those. Is there a spot on your couch? They can do upholstery. They can do hardwood, because what they do here with this, they leave 0 residue behind. No harsh chemicals, none of that stuff that the other companies do. You don't have to worry about that. And you get a sparkling, clean home. Reach out today, 314-474-2020. Ask for the 97.1 special. Go to ZeroResSTL.com.
Today, the Cards, the Padres. Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
License number GL250000615.
You're cooking dinner. The lights go out. You flip the breaker and forget about it.
But what if it keeps tripping?
Trips once, your breaker's doing its job. Keeps tripping? That's a warning. Bad wiring or something worse.
Do people just keep flipping it?
Most do, until they can't anymore.
Call Grasser. We'll stop the trip.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeServices.com.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Norm Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at CrawfordButts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's CrawfordButts.com.
If you replace an old system with a new system, your bills will go down. Promise you. The so-called high efficiency stuff only works if your house is efficient. I don't care about single stage, double stage, multi-stage, variable speed, blah, 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 and SEER ratings. How long can I keep the heat inside my house? And how long do I keep the heat outside? That's efficiencies. If you want an air conditioner that will cool your house in the heat of the day, and you want a furnace that will heat your house in the coldest of days, or you need a new furnace or air conditioner, you want common sense approach, no pressures, and just the probably, I would have to say, with no bias, the best company I've ever seen. Are you ready? They have one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600, or on the internet, bartinman.com. Now that is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Our firm handles hundreds of crash cases involving semi-trucks every year. A crash case involving semis is much different, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can leave lots of money on the table. Many times there is separate insurance for the cab and for the trailer. Sometimes there are actually layers of other insurances and excess insurance that some lawyers may not know about because they don't see that many cases. We see these cases every day. Also, there are federal laws governing the hours a driver may drive in a 24-hour period and logs that are required. A crash case involving a semi-truck is a totally different animal than a simple car crash. We have lawyers who only handle these cases. It's all they do. Rolling the dice with the wrong law firm can be disastrous. Call us on your cell phone at Pound Law, pound 529. It's so easy.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The time is 8:21 here on this Tuesday morning. This time check sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
And welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Marc Cox. We're waiting on Jeff Monosso. That'll be fun from Fox News Radio when we get him on the line. I was going through this America 250 time capsule and what some other states have been putting in there. A lot of coins are being left in this time capsule. It looks like a giant water heater that they welded shut.
I feel like you could put something cooler than the coins. Like, I'd want to see, like, this is what this type of product looked like 250 years ago,
So California put in predictions of the future. So they asked AI what America will look like in 250 years. So they put their predictions printed on archival paper, which I still think in 250 years it'll be destroyed.
That's
in
kind of
this
cool,
time
though.
capsule. Every time capsule that's ever been opened anywhere, they open it up and any paper is completely destroyed.
Yeah.
But this one might be different, I guess. Maybe this time capsule will actually hold it shut. It looks like it could withstand pressure of the space. I mean, it is serious, so maybe there's a chance, but we're going to forget about it. Let's just be honest. They'll bury this thing and forget it's there. Joining us now from Fox News Radio, Jeff Monosso. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Ryan. Good to be with you.
There's a new controversial law in Illinois, and it's allowing terminal patients to end their lives on their own. And there's some things that you have to do first. It's kind of interesting. I know you've been following this one, and yes, I can understand why this one is controversial. I think a lot of people when they get towards end of life, they sympathize and they understand why sometimes things like this are appealing.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a heavy story. Multiple disability and patients' rights groups and a doctor as well as residents here in Illinois, they're suing the state and they're naming Governor J.B. Pritzker as well as the Department of Health in a federal lawsuit over SB 1950, also known as Debs Law here in Illinois. It's a law that Democrats passed last year and expected to take effect in September, that allows for terminally ill patients to end their own lives via medication. The plaintiffs argue that the law is unconstitutional and discriminates against people with disabilities, and they're asking a judge to rule that the measure is illegal. Illinois is one of 13 states plus D.C. to permit medical aid in dying, and New York is also one of them, and the plaintiffs are also suing that state before a law there takes effect in August. Essentially what plaintiffs are saying is that New York and Illinois, they create a separate and unequal system in which people with life-threatening disabilities are offered death instead of the support programs that everybody else gets. And these legal actions are about affirming that every person has a value and dignity, and regardless of age, disability, or prognosis, and ensuring that no one is treated as disposable under the law.
And that's where I stand. I do not support this assisted suicide. I can empathize with why people might want the ability to do that, but I personally don't agree with it. But my question would be, Jeff, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but it seems as though some of the concern would be, okay, so a doctor would be able to say, hey, you're deemed terminal. You have X amount of weeks to live. Therefore, you qualify. I hate to call it qualify, but I don't know what other word to use. Because then I feel like, could just have some weird stuff going on where you kind of have this conversation with a doctor and a patient saying, hey, I'm really depressed, or I'm this, or I'm that. Can you please say I'm terminal? I don't know. I just worry that there would be too many ways that you could say, oh, yeah, you're terminal. And then they're able to do this legally.
Yeah, there's supposed to be some backstops, Kim. But the law would give, the way it's written here in Illinois, would give adults the option, if they're diagnosed with a terminal condition by two physicians, that they have the mental capacity to make the medical decisions and are informed of alternatives like hospice and pain management, things like that. So this law here was inspired by a suburban Chicago woman who had a rare terminal illness and who advocated for the law. Doctors, pharmacists, healthcare providers, they would not be required to participate in such medical aid, and the law makes it a felony to coerce a patient into asking for the medication or to falsify a request. So patients who qualify for the medication must be able to self-administer it. Yeah, I mean, there's so many questions, and this is a deep story. But one of the questions I had is how many people have used it, and there's really no single federal database that tracks all medical aid and dying death treatments. But if you look at Oregon, it's got the oldest program. It reported just under 3,700 people have died using prescribed aid and dying medication from 1998 through 2025. Nationwide, researchers say estimates probably well over 10,000.
Oh, wow. My concern here, I look at somewhat how other countries handle this, and it sounds like the United States has some safeguards put in. But in places like Canada, sometimes they'll jump to that conclusion saying this is your only logical conclusion. And I think a lot of times it has to do with the healthcare system. What really concerns me is sometimes in these European countries that will look at a diagnosis for a child and they'll say, we know what's best for your kid. And this is the solution because there's no recovering. So you're not allowed to try to seek treatment for your kid. It would be inhumane to seek treatment. I'm afraid we go down this path, and that's where we'll go.
It's a valid concern. We've already heard cases. You mentioned Canada. I think there was one recently that it was headline news that somebody was given some sort of aid and dying treatment, and family and loved ones are saying this guy, he was never, this is not what he wanted, but obviously it's too late. You can't take it back. So yeah, and there are a lot of questions surrounding it. It's a deep story for sure.
It's tough. It's a tough topic, and it's a lot of families. You're going to be at some point where, you might have a loved one or a parent, and this is maybe what you want, but you as a kid, that's not what you want. And there's going to be conflict. And Jeff Monosso, Fox News Radio. Thank you for covering this for us, following this one for us, too. I hope maybe some of the other stories you're covering this week are not as grim.
A little more cheerful. Let's talk then.
Let's get a little more cheerful. Maybe they'll put you on World Cup duty, and that'll be more fun.
I love it. I love it.
Let's try for it. Jeff Monosso, Fox News Radio. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.
All right, joining us after the break, Ryan Wiggins, and Wiggins America is on Saturdays here on 97.1 FM Talk. Andy Fry's show, you hear him on there too. Looking forward to discussing with him what's going on in California, kind of like what we discussed a little bit earlier, but if you know Wiggins is going to bring it up, there's going to be some hook to it. So I'm excited to hear what that may be on 97.1 FM Talk.
Whether you need a repair or you need to replace your furnace or air conditioner, Air Comfort Service is the place to go, because they did that for me about 2 years ago, and we could not be happier. My house is cold. It can be 90, 100 degrees outside, and my house, my wife will have a sweatshirt on. I love it. It's just what I've always wanted, and they'll do the same thing for you. I'm not special. I got a high-efficiency air conditioner, and it works like a dream. I got a heat pump for my furnace, and over the winter, it had to get pretty cold outside before I even started using any natural gas because the heat pump would kick in. Ask them about that. I also get Premier Service because I'm on the preferred partner plan, but you can be too. Join me there. They come out and check your system twice a year to make sure it's in good working condition. You get priority service if you need a service call. It's a great thing. I love what Corey and the folks are doing. 314-513-0091 or online at aircomfortservice.com.
If you've been thinking about refinancing, don't let the cost of an appraisal hold you back. This is James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak Lending. For a limited time, Golden Oak is offering a credit of up to $600 towards your appraisal at closing. Call today for a free mortgage checkup and see if you could lower your payment, pay off high-interest credit card debt, or put your home's equity to work. But apply by July 31st.
Golden Oak Landing, join my blue.
NMLS 114937.
I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money Now. General Motors is reportedly in talks with Lockheed Martin about making parts for the defense contractor's weapons. The Wall Street Journal reports that GM would manufacture commonly used parts that could help Lockheed bolster munitions production, adding that the companies are discussing which components GM could potentially make. An agreement has not been finalized. Oil prices have fallen to their lowest level in 3 months this morning, dropping more than 3% as investors continue to await further details on the U.S.-Iran peace agreement. West Texas Intermediate at roughly $77 a barrel, Brent at roughly $80. Global demand for electric vehicles rose for a third straight month in May as high petrol prices continue to drive the transition away from combustion engine cars. Benchmark Mineral Intelligence says that registrations of new battery electric vehicles and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles rose 3% from a year earlier to roughly 1.8 million units in May. Futures are still mixed after the Dow's record close yesterday. That's Your Money Now.
Onyx, I keep having stomach issues. Please make me a doctor's appointment.
Okay, are you suffering from diarrhea, bloating, gas, or oily stools? If so, you may want to ask your doctor if it could actually be a problem with your pancreas, called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI.
My pancreas? How is EPI treated?
A prescription medicine like Creon, pancrelipase, is used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes. Creon is the #1 prescribed treatment for EPI.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. You can learn more at 1-800-633-9110.
Before your appointment, visit creoninfo.com. That's CREON info.com.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We look pretty good out there, but there is a little bit of volume on eastbound 44. And this was an accident reported, and it's west of 141, and there was some slow-moving traffic behind it. That appears to be unwinding just a bit. Northbound 270, still slow pockets, but now it's Big Bend up through Ladue Road. Eastbound 70 still looking good out west into downtown. 64 has some volume east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. Southbound 170 is slow, headed for 64. And westbound 64 slows, approaching Hampton out through the inner belt. And still some volume on the Illinois side. Westbound 5564 at 3rd Street with some slow-moving traffic behind that. And we've also got 44 still closed between the Poplar Street Bridge and the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge. That we don't know how long, but it will be through the week, says MoDOT. This report brought to you by McKelvey Homes. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
McKelvey Homes is breaking ground on something new in O'Fallon, Strawberry Farms. When McKelvey builds something, they do it right. Visit McKelvey Homes to schedule a tour at Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today and move up to McKelvey.
When you ride, you feel the freedom of the open road. But when the road turns dangerous and an accident happens, the pain and confusion can be overwhelming. If you're injured in a motorcycle accident, you need someone who understands. At Kaufman Townsley, we're your St. Louis neighbors. We live here, work here, and we know how important your recovery is. We'll fight for you so you can focus on healing. Kaufman Townsley, real people, real results. Call 314-777-7777.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
When you're doing any sort of project at your home, the goal really is to spend smart where it matters the most. So you get long-lasting, long-term use of whatever you're working on. And Lakeside Renovation and Design knows that. They're not just doing some money grab to get you to do some useless project at your home. They genuinely care about making sure that you have a space that not only is, aesthetically pleasing, you go in there, you walk into your home, your kitchen, your bathroom, and you feel more relaxed just being in there, but they also want it to be more functional. That's why Lakeside Renovation and Design, they're going to partner you with an in-house designer. They don't outsource. The entire team over there at Lakeside Renovation and Design in-house. So you don't have to hound them to make sure they actually show up, but they're going to have the in-house designer work with you from start to finish. They're going to make sure that the job is done right. So maybe you've realized after living in your home for a few years that you don't have enough storage space, or you don't like the layout, that you want to host more people, but you just don't have the right area for it in your basement. Whatever you're looking for, Lakeside Renovation and Design can do it. Plus, they're going to offer financing. This is just a great family-run company with so many so many 5-star reviews and an A+ rating from the BBB. Again, it's Lakeside Renovation and Design, lakesiderd.com.
Wiggins!
Wiggins! Welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker filling in. Joining us now is the host of Wiggins America. You hear him on the Annie Fry Show as well. Ryan Wiggins. Hello, sir.
Good morning to you guys.
Wiggins! You hope that guy never retires, because we need more clips in the future of the basketball player that shares your name.
You know what I want is for him to get pretty old, and then it'd be like the announcer's going, you know what? That was all right, Wiggins. And then I could use those as I also get old.
Wiggins is looking old there.
You've put a lot of thought into
this.
Yeah, Wiggins really slowing down here.
Yep. I know that you always are looking for stories. You're looking for things to talk about on your weekend show here on 97.1. What things are grabbing your eye now?
Well, I've been paying attention to the World Cup a lot, but I'm not going to talk about that because apparently we did a poll the other day that our audience is like 2/3 uninterested in the World Cup at all. But I don't know. I think everybody's getting a little bit jazzed for the United States, even if you weren't paying attention before. I think you're kind of grabbing onto that. I don't know about you guys.
I watched it on Friday just because I was at work late and it was on TV. I wouldn't have watched it naturally. It was fun to see him win. I don't have a lot of hope for him,
I don't
but
really
you know,
care.
it's kind of fun.
I'm not a soccer fan. I know they beat them 4-1 and that's exciting, but generally speaking, I think soccer's boring.
I
Sorry.
love it, for the record. Just putting it out there.
Drew's on it. This is exactly why I'm not going to talk about this much more than we just have. But
you know,
I had to mention
I
it
thought I
because
had.
Yeah.
I told a joke to my wife, and I thought I had a good one, and she didn't laugh, and I thought maybe it wasn't that good. Would you like to hear my joke?
I don't know how we can say no now.
Yeah, now you have to. So this would have been on Friday. I said, Team USA is playing Paraguay in L.A. It sounds like Pig Latin. And she just rolled her eyes and nearly slapped me across the face for that stupid joke.
I liked it. I think you should write it out and maybe submit it to one of the late shows.
I thought Ryan's
on the
joke was
radio.
actually funnier. I should confirm. I thought Ryan Wiggins' joke was funnier than Ryan Recker's joke.
So Ryan Recker, you gave me a great lead in, and I totally just blew it because I'm like, oh, what am I thinking about? Kind of the World Cup, I guess. But you gave me a great lead into the actual story that I brought this morning, which is that are you guys following what Gavin Newsom is saying about the Department of Justice?
Mm-hmm.
You are. Yeah, he's saying it broke yesterday because he went out and looked like he was getting ahead of the story a little bit and saying, look, they're politically persecuting me. They're targeting me. And, it's always funny when the left goes, I can't believe Donald Trump would politically persecute me and use the office for his own gain or whatever. When, Donald Trump has a mug shot and, he's been persecuted and come after by basically every leftist institution in the country until he became president again. But that doesn't mean that he couldn't be doing it, so you have to say, okay, well, is he actually persecuting his political enemies? And if so, we certainly don't want to be that kind of country. But if there's wrongdoing, you also have to find out. You can't just say, well, if it's somebody who's political, you can't just say, well, they're political, so I can't touch them. You still got to have justice. And so I looked into what the claims were. Well, the trouble is Gavin Newsom's claims are really the best we have right now about what's going on because he's trying to get out ahead of the DOJ. The DOJ is, of course, they're doing an investigation. They can't really comment on it much. So I dug up some stories from many different sources. I finally found one that wasn't too hard leaning.
It's time to say goodbye.
Sorry, that might be me.
That's all right. That was a nice ad. I mean, hopefully we got a little plug in there. And hopefully I get paid for it. But Axios has a source, and so I'm citing them because they're the ones that say a source familiar with the situation say that they can confirm there are actually several investigations that have been ongoing with Gavin Newsom for quite some time. This isn't brand new. And that they don't just involve his taxes, because that's what he's saying. Well, they're coming after me because of my wife and taxes, and they're coming after us, just trying to find up anything they can, And the source with Axios says, no, actually, the only reason that Gavin Newsom even knows about it now is because they have had to go after his taxes. They've been investigating his staff and his former chief of staff for quite a while. And that the source is saying that they think this is probably more about fraud than anything else.
That was my guess, because I bet you there are similar things, kind of like Ellison and Walls in Minnesota, where he either turned a blind eye or something where he knew more than he'll ever let on.
Exactly. And that's what they're going after, is that they've been doing this for, it looks like, several months now. And again, they didn't go right after Gavin Newsom. They went after current staff members and his former chief of staff first. And that's about as much as we know right now. But that looks to me like, well, then they're not going after the man. They're seeing if there's fraud in California. And of course, if it reaches the top of the state.
Right. Well, I don't know. Listen, I pay attention to the news somewhat. You'll have to remind me, is California known for scandals and fraud?
No, this is brand new for them.
This is a first, I think.
Right. They're typically a state that spends their money really well. And so it's weird to see this kind of investigation take place. And you know, the governor coming out and saying he's appalled that something could be even suggested that he would be above, not above board.
How dare you? How dare you even suggest? So Gavin Newsom, and this is kind of the playbook when they're pretty far down the investigation to the point where, okay, if they're gathering this, they must have some pretty substantial things to make it this far down to get out in front of it. This is what normally happens. They get out in front of it, and then like a month later, all the indictments come rolling down. And then you see like the federal indictment press releases coming out, and you start to see what they were looking into. So I would guess we're about a month out from something big happening.
That's a good guess. And that is the timeline usually, is because they don't really want to talk about this stuff and make it the center of attention until they think, uh-oh, I better get out ahead of it. And that's what it looks like right now. We'll see. I mean, we don't know for sure what the DOJ is doing here, but certainly they must be feeling the pressure if they're going to go to the media with it.
Yeah. I wonder if California will survive this. Could you imagine? Yeah. Considering all the different politicians that could be investigated in California, like if they were to really expand this to as broad as it could be, this would implicate like half the state.
What about Karen Bass? What about Karen Bass? I wonder what stuff could be uncovered related to her.
Well, it's so funny that they'd be going after people, and he's going, well, they're only coming after me because I'm running for president in 2028. And it's like, oh yeah, that's why they went for Tim Walz, who just lost the 2024 election, is because he's such a political threat. Like these things, it's convenient that he's running for president so he can say that, but they're going after fraud in a lot of states. And if this is part of that, then so be it.
Yeah. So if you're Gavin Newsom, you're pretty much like looking at all your accounts and prepaying the lawyers before they start freezing things, I'm guessing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're calling Act Blue, and Act Blue's going, no, we're calling you. Who's
need your help. Act Blue. Where are they based out of? Is Act Blue based out of California? I should look that
I don't
up.
know the answer to that. I know that they're based out of probably the Cayman Islands at this point.
I'm Googling it, seeing if I can figure this out. It's headquartered in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. They got branches there too. Gavin Newsom, the only thing he hasn't so far brought up is a race card, which I'm not going to rule out at this point, but he seems like he's throwing everything in there to make it sound like he is so innocent. There is no chance of anything. I just can't wait to see all of the other pathetic defenses that he may try to pull up between now and an indictment. This will be fun when it actually happens, honestly.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. I hate to say that. I'm excited about it, but you know that these are states that have had rampant fraud, and everybody knows that. Whenever they go after the fraud, the companies / people that they find committing fraud never come back and go, no, we were a legitimate daycare. They never do. They were all fake.
They don't deny it. Yeah.
And you go, well, where's all that money going? If there's so much money cycling through these states to these little organizations. Well, the implication is, well, then it's cycling back up, too, because otherwise they wouldn't just let it happen if there was no benefit to them. So that's what you're excited to see, is that, we all are like, well, we got to do something about this. Well, this may be the tip of the iceberg in California, especially if it involves the top of the state with the governor.
Right. All right. Ryan Wiggins America, weekends here on 97.1 and the Annie Fry Show. Are you going to be on tonight, Annie Fry?
I will be on, today, noon to 3.
Noon to 3. This afternoon, rather. Ryan Wiggins, good to talk to you, sir.
All right, you too.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker. We only have one segment left here on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Let's take a look at the roads. Now, northbound 270, we still have some volume. There was an accident at Doherty Ferry that got moved to the shoulder. But look for a slow pocket or two, especially 44 up through, looks like the Clayton Road overpass now. And eastbound 70 still in good shape, Wentzville into downtown. 64, some moderate volume in pockets east of 270 through Big Bend. Westbound lines up approaching Hampton through the inner belt. Southbound 170, some slow pockets from Olive through 64. On the Illinois side, we've got volume. There's road work going on. 5564 at 3rd Street and some slow-moving traffic there. 55, though, is in good shape on the Missouri side. This report is brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Call them for their 26-point tune-up. It's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Always look for the genuine, the original red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlewis.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, St. Louis, this is Brian Kilmeade. You know, I always have a great time when I visit you guys, and I'm coming back this November. So join me, Brian Kilmeade, by getting tickets for the show at the factory at 971talk.com/events.
Hey, I hope you got to stop by Lit Cigar Lounge and see that great European auto show they hosted the other day. They do that occasionally. They fill up the parking lot out there at the district in Chesterfield with exotic cars. And, of course, it's all centered around Lit Cigar Lounge. You can always enjoy a nice cigar, hand-rolled cigar in many cases from some of the finest makers in the world when you go by there. They have cocktails. They have big TVs on the wall. I was out there the other day watching part of the new Serena Williams comeback, which was great. They have private lockers available, but you don't have to have one of those. And then you can just hang out in there, take a date, meet friends. Every time I'm in there, I see some friends that have heard me talking about Lit, and they came down to check it out. Every Friday night, they'll have live music, and you'll get to know them like family. Just say hello to Andrew and Charlie and Nate and all of them when you go in the door. It is litstl.com.
Today,
The Cards, the Padres.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
You're back with Marc Cox and Kim St. Onge. The Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. And I'm Ryan Recker. Thank you for having me this morning, Kim. It was always a fun time whenever I get invited to do the show. And it's been a long time since we've done a show together, so I always enjoy it.
Oh, I do too. And it was probably since before my younger son was born, right? Because you said the last time I was maybe on maternity leave.
I think so. The last time I filled in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it had to have been before that. Oh, boy. So last year at some point, it's hard to believe how fast the time goes by. Do you think your kids, will you let them on social media when they turn, let's say, high school age? I know a lot can change between now and then, but are you going to resist it, or are you going to try to keep them off as long as
resist
possible?
as long as possible. I don't even want them having a smartphone. And I know that parents are getting pressure from their kids at 7, 8 years old, I've heard, because a lot of the schools, for example, will only post updates to practices or games, things like that on social media, which I do not agree with. You should not be forced to have Facebook or whatever other app or social media in order to keep updated on your child's sports.
Yeah, the convenience is for the person sending it out, not for any sort of privacy concerns. They really care about the person that's receiving the message. But in the UK, millions of children will be soon forced off of social media. They have a under 16 social media ban coming for TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, the Facebooks, the Twitters of the world, Meta companies, YouTube warning that it could also remove children. So if you're under 16, coming soon, starting in spring of next year, you're going to have to prove your age in order to get onto those platforms. And there's a byproduct that may upset a lot of adults, is that if you're an adult, you're going to have to prove that you are an adult and you're over 16. And I think about myself, I don't want to take a snapshot of my driver's license and prove to Facebook or Twitter that I'm an adult. And it puts me in a spot because I'm thinking, okay, if they did something similar in the United States, would I give up social media because I don't want them having my personal information that way?
Well,
My driver's license and all that.
That's what's hard. In fact, I tried to log in from a different computer to Facebook, and it wanted me to upload a picture of my ID. And other people I've talked to, I forget who it was, but somebody else said that they had to do that too. And I don't remember the purpose of that, but I don't like that either. But man, they know so much about us. That's what's crazy. I mean, think about the way that our apps connect to everything we're searching for online on our phones. And I know you can try to block some of that, but let's be real. I feel like a lot of these apps have so much knowledge about what we're interested in and what we're searching and about us in general. But yeah, I wouldn't like that either. To have to do that.
It puts me in a tough spot because I really don't want to do that. And I find that these social media companies, these tech companies, they're not good stewards of this information.
Yeah, they don't care.
You should do everything you can to try to prevent it. But you're right. It seems like the battle's probably lost. And if that's the case, then why can't they just self-identify us if they already know the information? Why bother asking? It's almost like how the IRS says, how much money do you owe us? And if you get it wrong, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
It seems like social media is in that same thing.
Yeah.
We already know everything, but why don't you just confirm it,
Just
please?
like give us everything, other bit of information you have about yourself. You know, what's funny is you think about people who have to either post, what would it be, like a birth certificate if you don't have some sort of photo ID, like a driver's license. So all the people, liberals who would support this, who say that they shouldn't have to show an ID to vote, what will they say? Because now you have to go figure out how to get an ID in order to stay on Facebook. So somehow I feel like if it's a matter of being able to stay on Instagram or TikTok, they'll be able to get that photo ID. But if it's a matter of voting, well, then that's racist. You shouldn't have to show an ID.
You know what, Kim? That may be my favorite argument of all of this, honestly. That is such a great point. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And there's other lawsuits and things. And I saw Florida launching another lawsuit over TikTok, violating the state's child social media ban. And there's some other states that do this for adult content, like pornography, for example, these websites that, push this sort of content out. And you have to be able to identify that you're an adult accessing adult, materials. So sometimes those laws are in place in certain states. I look at this and I say, they're implementing this stuff in cars. Like at some point, they're going to implement this stuff in everything. Like you see these laws that they want to monitor you while you're driving to make sure you're fit to drive. Otherwise, they can do a kill switch on a vehicle. And some Republicans are for that. And I'm thinking, I want less of this stuff in my life, but they keep adding more and more and more onto it. I want to go back. I don't want this intrusion, particularly where the government could step in and decide, what I can and can't do for things that are legal. I don't like it. And it doesn't make me feel great about the future. It makes me Jeremiah Johnson myself and say, maybe I just go and live in the woods and
live in a little bunker.
I'll get
grow your own food.
Find Bigfoot.
What's the Elon Musk internet? The Stargate?
Starlink, right?
Starlink. I'll get Starlink. I'll live off the grid. I'll get a septic system.
You have fun with that,
Everything
Ryan.
will be great. I know. Kim, it was fun working with you this morning. Always is. Thank you,
too.
Drew, for all your work today. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in 97.1 FM Talk.